Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 11 of The Other Side of Midnight. The chat is already jumping. We have Tim Hayes, Connie Cleary, Andy Penzak. And we also have the Padawannabe. Wait, it's only 9:06 p.m. here. It's still light outside. Right on. It's been a long week, but we made it. And we live to fight another week. All right, now, for those of you who may be new to the show, this is kind of an open mic chill stream type thing. This week's episode was inspired by the man who made the thumbnail, and that's Fletcher Williams. When he came up with the design, I asked him, okay, why that? Why Big Trouble in Little China? And he said, well, it was kind of like a perfect midnight movie. So that got me and my guest tonight thinking, what makes a good midnight movie? And why has Big Trouble in Little China of all movies become so popular over the years? So we're going to talk a little bit about that, maybe some other things tonight. And without further ado, I'm going to bring him on. Our special guest tonight is some guy who decided to hop on a Sith Will or something. I don't really know this guy. Let's meet him. Oh, hi. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my Western Cinema Sunday co-host, Jedi Bill.
Hello,
good evening, sir.
Scenes.
Hello.
How you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Oh, that's good.
All right. I understand you had a bit of a weather situation down here earlier.
Oh yeah, it was raining a whole bunch. I think I got a puddle in my living room. I'd have to go mop up.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the window was open. You know, we had the evaporative cooler on. When it rains like that, but you have an open window, even though you have a screen, there's bound to rain to get in. Yeah.
And hello to Resolute Germ. Joining us from Bill's channel. We are simulcasting tonight, both on Bill's channel and also on Twitch. So to everybody also watching on Twitch, thank you for being here. All righty. Well, since Fletcher did bring up Big Trouble in Little China, Bill, what was your first experience with this film?
Oh gosh, it's been such a long time, but it has hugely gained a cult following since the years it came out. What was it 86 or 87? I'm not sure on the date.
I think it was 86.
86.
If we're wrong, I'm sure someone in the chat will let us know.
I'm yeah, it was probably made in 86 and came out in 87. But I love this film from the get go. I mean, it screamed, guy film, and it's like Kurt Russell in the role of Jack Burton. uh, what a character, man! What a cast, That's definitely a movie you probably watch, if not every year, every other year. It's one of those
highly quotable films for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. We have with us Tim Hayes. Good evening.
Hi.
Oh,
How's it going?
going pretty well. Discussion tonight is going to be midnight movies, and the first one we're talking about is Big Trouble in Little China. So, Tim, what was your first experience with this movie? Cable, video, or?
Yeah, it was premium cable. It was either on the movie channel or on Cinemax.
Mhm.
I think was when we first saw it in my household. Unless my dad ended up renting the VHS, I can't recall. I think it was premium cable was where we first saw it.
If I'm remembering correctly, I saw it in theaters originally back in the day. So, quite the experience. Being a John Carpenter fan and seeing Halloween and The Thing at a probably too young an age.
Yeah, well, that came on. The
Yeah.
John Carpenter remake of The Thing came on network television when I was really young. I think CBS showed that when it was either CBS or NBC.
I
Showed
think it was
that.
CBS. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them showed it late night on a Friday night.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they played it on like USA Up All Night and all those years after.
Well, USA Up All Night would show a lot of like really sexy comedies. It seemed like they would show stuff like
that
Hot.
They did do. Yeah.
They would show Hot, and I think they showed The Lunch Wagon. And what else did they show? I think they showed Invasion of the B-Girls, and then they showed Candy Striped Nurses, and I think Summer School Teachers, and they probably showed Private School.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But of course, I think they had, even though since it was basic cable, I think they had to tone down an awful lot.
Well, yeah.
Because Nightmare Sisters, I think they had to replace all the nudity. They had to reshoot a bunch of the scenes that originally had nudity to where the girls were all clothed.
Surprised you remember the actual movies. I didn't.
There was only one, I think, Lucky Charms, this one with this leprechaun. That was the only one I actually saw caught on there when I was a teenager. And then after I had been on the internet for years upon years, I found out about all the other movies that had been on there, like Hot.
Wait, Tim, what year did you watch Up All Night? What years? Can you remember?
I think it was the mid 90s. I caught a little bit of it.
Yeah, the total difference from like back in the 80s with USA Up All Night.
Well, I don't think USA Up All Night was on in the 80s. There was Night
I'm pretty
Flight.
sure it was. Yeah.
There was Night Flight, and then there was another show on in between after Night Flight was off the air, and there was Up All Night. But
Mhm.
in the 90s, it was Rhonda Shear doing it one night, and then Gilbert Godfrey doing it another night. There was
Right.
they did have another host that did it. I think in the really maybe in 89, 1990, they had. I think they had another person that was the host of it. I think it was Caroline Smith or something was her name. Was the original host,
Yeah, I think you're right.
but she didn't last that long. She wasn't a host that long. She was on it for maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
And I think it was early on that show they would show Cheerleaders Beach Party, but then by the time Rhonda was on it, they started showing Cheerleaders Wild Weekend and Revenge of the Cheerleaders.
Hmm.
And they might have shown Message from Space. I heard Message from Space was shown on Night Flight, but then I heard it was on Up All Night.
Yeah, I see that one being more of like a Night Flight type of movie than Up All Night. But that's if I'm thinking of the same movie.
Well, Night Flight would show a lot of public domain stuff. They would show Night of the
Yeah.
Living Dead, Reefer Madness, Sex Madness, and they would show a bunch of like public domain Bela Lugosi movies, and they would show the East Side Kids. I think is what Night Flight did an awful lot of.
I actually first saw Night of the Living Dead on AMC.
Really? Because
back in the early days of AMC, because this was back before AMC in the early days was actually closer to Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah. Well, I
And-
had seen
Mhm.
Night of the Living Dead on A&E when it was Arts and Entertainment.
Mhm.
And then Sci-Fi Channel showed it, and I think USA Network had shown it numerous times, even after they had canceled Night Flight.
I remember seeing Night of the Living Dead first on Elvira's Into the Macabre.
Yeah, she had
83.
Yeah, she had Movie Macabre during most of the 80s. And then she was hosting VHS tapes for Thriller Video, which was part of Live Home Entertainment. And then she hosted some movies on TBS in the 90s. Yeah, right, D. Pensac. Originally, it was commercial free like Turner Classic Movies, and they had movie hosts like Turner Classic Movies did, but they didn't always show when they got to showing widescreen movies, they didn't always show the widescreen letterboxed versions. I mean, sometimes they did if they restored a movie, but Turner Classic Movies would usually show a movie letterboxed or completely in widescreen.
No,
I heard
they didn't.
Yeah, I heard AMC mainly had like TV prints of classic movies, so they had so unless they invested in restoring a classic film, they didn't get the full unedited classic film, and they didn't get it a widescreen copy if it was widescreen. So I think they did restore Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. They funded the restoration on that, and then one of the last movies they funded restoration on was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
But yeah, like I said, my first experience with Night of the Living Dead, seeing the whole thing straight through uncut, was on AMC, and watching like the first whatever 75 minutes of it, going, this isn't that scary, you know. And then they get to what is now referred to as the cookout scene, and that's when I went, okay, oh my god, they're not stopping.
Is
Yeah.
that the steel book?
This is the Criterion
oh.
Collection Blu-ray edition, so it's 2 discs.
I think I need to get the steel book. They have.
I think the only steelbook you can get is a Japanese import.
Yeah, I snagged the 4K a while back.
Well, maybe the 4K was what Criterion later put out after they put this out.
Mhm.
Because this is from a 4K digital restoration. And somebody is blowing up stuff outside my house. There's firecrackers going off.
Oh.
So if you hear bang, 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 somebody's blowing off firecrackers.
Okay, no worries, no worries. It's that time of year. Anyway, going back to Big Trouble in Little China for a bit, because I do know some people do want us to talk about that since it is the thumbnail. But yeah, like I was saying, I saw Big Trouble in theaters, and I was like a big John Carpenter fan, especially off of Halloween and The Thing and whatnot. And it kind of suffered from the same thing a lot of John Carpenter's movies do, and that's the fact that they may not necessarily do well right away in theaters, but then they start getting really big on like cable and video. So I think that's where a lot of people might have seen it. It was really more on cable and on video, because the interesting thing about the movie, and I'm not sure how many people pick up on it the first time they see it, is that Kurt Russell's character is not the hero. He's the sidekick. He just thinks he's the hero, and that's kind of the fun part of it, Is,
well, doesn't he have kind of an ego in that movie?
Well, yeah, that's why he thinks he's the lead guy, but really the lead guy is Wang, but that's kind of the fun thing about it to me. And the fact that it was like this mashup of genres, you had obviously, kung fu and action films, this sort of, Asian mysticism, so it was this nice little, and of course, it's a comedy. To me, it was always more of like an action comedy anyway, So it was this nice mashup of styles, and you either got it or you didn't.
Yeah, it seemed like when I saw the previews for it, it seemed like it was. I got the impression it was more of like a horror fantasy film.
Mm-hmm. And it has elements of that too. And one thing that's interesting, because this was something I don't know why I didn't pick up on it at the time, was that it was written by the same guy that wrote Buckaroo Banzai.
That movie's just plain silly.
It just made sense.
Yeah, Buckaroo Banzai just seems like a silly little B movie. But I think maybe that and Big Trouble in Little China were like two little B movies that became mainstream.
Yeah. So they do in my mind kind of relate. You know, I can very much see them happening in the same being sort of a same universe. They're not, but you know, if somebody were to come up with a theory of, hey, Buckaroo Banzai and Big Trouble in Little China are in the same universe, I go, I'm fine with that. And hello
Hey,
to Dave
Dave.
C.
Good to see you, Dave.
All right. And D. Penzak is saying it was originally conceived to take place in the Wild West. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all, you know, because
Yeah, but
that
which
was
Wild West?
yeah. Well, that was at a time where John Carpenter was getting involved uh, with westerns. He wrote a movie for HBO called El Diablo with Lou Gossett and Anthony Edwards. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, but that was a pretty good movie where this Mexican bandit rides into town with his gang. He kidnaps this girl, and then they have to get this kind of motley band of guys to track her down. And Anthony Edwards is like this. He's like the school teacher and doesn't know anything about guns, but feels like he's got to do something. And you've got Lou Gossett as like the ex-cavalry officer, sharpshooter, and then Joe Pantoliano is this kid Durango who professes to be this outlaw and gunman, but is kind of a fake. And and there are some other guys along the way, but that was a pretty good one. But yeah, I is seeing that would be interesting. What if he had maybe gone with that Western? I could see that working. It would have been a different movie, but I could see that working. But hey, it's absolutely fine as it is.
Yeah.
And of course, a great villain with Lo Pan, because like they said, there's so many. It's like every time you see him in that movie, he's sort of different in some way, especially at the beginning. He's like
old, and
he's right, because that's the what he wants everyone to in the general public to just see him as just this old man in a wheelchair, and what kind of a threat could he possibly be, and then you see him, what kind of a threat he can actually be, is he call him like the 8-foot roadblock or something, because he runs over him initially with the truck, and of course Lo Pan being Lo Pan, that doesn't work. And
no, it doesn't.
And of course he's searching for the girl with the green eyes that was sort of that he can marry, and this will kind of quicken him and make him young again. And not only does he find one, he finds two.
Yeah. Kim Cattrall.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, when she was still hot. I mean, you might think she's hot, but she was really hot back
back then, even more. Yeah.
Yeah. Needless to say, after Police Academy and Mannequin and this one,
and she was in Porky's.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody remembers her that role. The
Well,
Lassie girl.
she was this little like unknown Canadian actress that became big.
Uh-huh.
I think Sex and the City is what made her big, probably.
I think um, fans know we're in love her from the movies that she did in the '80s. So
Mhm.
the
Yeah, well, she was.
Mannequin
Yeah,
and Big Trouble Little China. And,
Yeah, but when the show came on, it was a bit of a career resurgence, so to speak.
yeah, reinvented her career, in a matter of fact. In a way.
Mm.
it was funny how they made a sequel to Mannequin, but they made it about a different girl and guy.
Oh, yeah. Uh,
They
the
they
sequel's not even worth watching.
well, the sequel's more of like a fairy tale.
So I like the idea of you got the storms, they're kind of like the three guys who are the henchmen through the film,
Mm-hmm.
and having their own little things and their own little quirks and whatnot. So because he had rain, he had thunder, and I guess lightning was the other guy, right? I'm blanking on the names all of a
Well,
sudden, but
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but
rumors has it that they cornered the characters Raiden from what's uh, the game, the video game, why am I hate when my mind draws like Mortal Kombat.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you can see them as Mortal Kombat type characters.
Well, I think Raiden came out of the concept for Raiden came out of Big Trouble in Little China.
Hmm.
Don't quote me on that, but if you look at him and the character in the video game, there's strong similarities.
And hello, JPRPH1. Good to see you.
What's up, JPR?
Now, the funny thing that I like through the movie, going back to the conceit of Burton thinks that he's the lead hero when he's really just a sidekick, is all through the movie he keeps getting knocked out or something, or knocks himself out at one point. He kind of gets his butt kicked through a lot of the movie, but you still root for him though, because he just he definitely has this never say die kind of attitude to him, because hey,
Sorry,
it's really that's okay. Um, it's really the movie really has nothing to do with him. He just kind of by accident winds up in the middle of the whole thing. Because he first he just wants to get the money that Wang owes him, and then he just wants to get his truck back, and it just snowballs into this situation where he has to get into this fight, and battle the sorcerer, and It kind of comes out on the other side of it. It's like, hey, it's like he says, send me with your best shot. I can take it. And he can. So as I see it, in the end, he becomes the hero he thinks he's been through the whole movie. I like that. So, Tim, what are other movies from that point in time that kind of come to mind as a good midnight movie?
So it has to be from the 80s.
No, from any time. It doesn't have to be specifically 80s.
Well, let's see. How about this one? Deadly Eyes.
Ah.
It's a killer rat movie from Canada.
Mhm.
But I think this was partially filmed in New York. I mean, it takes place in Toronto, Canada, but some of the stuff that they have in Toronto, I think they also have it in New York City, so I think this was partially filmed in New York City. But it's the producer of Enter the Dragon, and at one point in this, there's a movie theater scene where they're watching Enter the Dragon in a movie theater, and then the rats start coming in there and start eating people, and then there's a stampede out the doors and through glass windows of the movie theater.
Ouch.
Yeah, somehow these giant rats are like in the sewer, and they get out of there and they just start eating everybody in Toronto, Canada. So it's got a lot of Canadian people in it. Lisa Langlois, who was in The Nest, and then Leslie Donaldson, who was in Happy Birthday to Me, Curtains, and Funeral Home, but it's just it's the director from Enter the Dragon, Robert Klaus, and then Scatman Carruthers, who was in The Shining, is in this as well.
That's an interesting one. I'm trying to remember if I ever saw it, but I don't think I did.
I think this came on cable an awful lot.
Oh yeah,
it's from 1982, but it would come on cable.
Have either of you seen Dan Aykroyd's Dr. Detroit?
I haven't seen it, but I know of it. I know of it since
that is a classic. Would be, I would categorize as a midnight film. Hollywood Nights.
Remember that one? Yeah.
Hollywood Nights. There's Dr. Detroit. My Science Project. That's another one that came out in like 85. Good stuff. Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. And Mr. Mustache, Tom Skerritt. Not Tom. Shoot. I can't think of his name right now. Oh, I'm embarrassed.
Well, how about The Green Slime? Late 60s film that's...
Those are like B movies, so but still categories as a midnight film.
Midnight movies.
No, either way. Yeah.
I've got Werewolves on Wheels, part motorcycle gang, part satanic horror.
How about this one? The classic.
Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, with a star from E.T. in there.
Yeah, I don't own that one, but I had seen that an awful lot, I think, on cable and on home video.
Yeah, I watched that one to the point to where it probably just annoyed everybody.
Yes.
But one cool thing about Cloak and Dagger that I think is the chief reason why it wouldn't be made today is the fact that it's the father that saves the day.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he's competent, right. And of course, it's Dabney Coleman playing both parts. When he sees the Jack Flack character and his mom, because the character is in his head, right? Basically, it is his father as this guy. So it's that's the thing about it that I always dug. Until the father does become the hero in the end, you know. And he has that last minute, and you know, spoilers for like a 40-year-old movie, but you know, when he does that last minute escape on the plane, right, and the plane blows up, but the bad guys in it, and the kid thinks, and Henry Thomas thinks he's gone, and he says, well, Jack Flack always escapes, and he goes, I don't need him anymore, I've got you. You know, and I always thought that was a nice way to end it. You know?
Well, have you ever seen this one, Treasure of the Four Crowns in 3D?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is an actual widescreen copy that has both the full 3D and the Analyth 3D. My DVD copy was just looked like it was taken from a VHS tape that looked like it might have been red and blue 3D, but it was a really old Video Master. So this should be restored completely now.
All right. Well, since we're kind of turning this into somewhat of a physical media type show, there is another.
Well, I'm just using it for visual.
No. That's absolutely fine. That's fine. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's what the show's about. What I wanted to bring up, and hello everybody, I'm live. I'm here. Got a haircut. You know.
I need to get mine cut.
Yeah.
Mine is getting too long, and I have really curly hair, so I'm not going to be going bald anytime soon.
No.
And I'm not cutting my hair. No. I'm going to keep it long.
Yeah, well, you have plenty of hair, too, so you're lucky.
Yeah, we're lucky. The men in my family hang on to their hair.
I've got that.
Another midnight film.
My grandfather was 96 when he passed, and he still had all his hair.
Yeah, I've got the
nice
Blu-ray DVD plus digital combo.
Anyway, the one I was going to bring up was a movie that also has the star of the Treasure of the Four Crowns and is also a 3D movie. It's Coming at You.
Well, isn't that the same director, though?
I think it might have been.
It was either the same director or same producer. It was the same people, probably. It was when there was that 3D revival craze of the early 80s.
Yeah.
There was like Jaws 3 in 3D, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D, and then Amityville
Yeah.
Horror Part 3 in 3D.
If you
And
look
then,
back at those 3D films, the 3D, you can see all the 3D gimmicks, especially in Jaws 3. That it's so bad. I mean,
well, Jaws 3 was
yeah,
just one of the worst 3D movies you could ever see.
yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D was actually scary and violent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't get to see those in the theater though. That was the thing.
Yeah, well, I
Did you
think my
see this
brother
one?
got one of my brothers
Oh
got.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that I think my dad rented that one, and then it used to be on cable an awful lot. I think it was back in the 90s when Disney Channel was still a premium channel. It was late night on Sunday nights. They would show more adult themed stuff like Enemy Mine late at night.
And Padawannabe brings up Fire and Ice. Nick Weiser just did a Toxic Tuesday about Fire and Ice a couple months back. So go back
Yeah,
and
and
check that episode out.
I thought I
And
had
hello, Kai.
What's up, Kai? Good to see you, man.
maybe I moved it. I know I have the DVD and I have the Blu-ray of Fire and Ice, and I thought Fire and Ice was just readily at hand, but I've moved everything around again, so don't know where that went. But have you seen Yellow Submarine by the Beatles? It's a cartoon.
I
Not
have.
sure.
It hasn't been a. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Blue Meanies.
Very cool.
Well, there was a movie a few years back that when I first saw it, I called it the quintessential midnight movie. And I think it probably helped that I actually watched it at midnight when I first saw it. And that was Mandy with Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I take it by your reaction that you're familiar with this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, great. Because that Mandy kind of came out at a time when everybody was like, "Well, where the hell is Nicolas Cage?" And I'm like, he never left.
Uh-huh.
He just wasn't doing movies like this, and he needed to make more movies like this.
Yeah.
And well, it's directed by Panos Cosmatos. He's the son of George Cosmatos, who directed Tombstone and Rambo 2 and Cobra. And Dave knows it. Andy, it's a trippy revenge film. Very much so. It's one of those movies where you don't need to be on anything to see it. You just kind of get a contact high off the movie itself. Because it is very trippy. It does feel like, and I know this is going to sound odd when I say this, but stick with me for him, because I think at least Bill will get it if no one else. It feels like you're living in like a 70s album cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just
So which movie is
you
this?
just
Mandy?
Mandy, yeah, and he's kind of living out in the country, Who is she? Wife, girlfriend? They don't. I don't think they really say. But anyway, not the point. Not the point.
Yeah.
This cult shows up, and they kill her.
Biker from Hell dudes. Yeah.
Biker from Hell dudes. Yeah. And it becomes this revenge story of Nicolas Cage getting really high and knocking these guys off one by one. And we kind of get the idea it's not the first time he's kind of done something like this, too, because he seems to know all too well what he's getting into. And you kind of get this backstory with him that's pretty interesting, because like I said, you kind of get the idea this is not like the first time he's dealt with people like this. So it's kind of fun. I was definitely watching movies I shouldn't have been when I was little. Yeah, same here. I watched Delirious with Eddie Murphy enough times to memorize it, and Beverly Hills Cop is still one of my favorites. Yeah. And of course, The Toxic Avenger. Yeah.
1, 2, and 3.
I have never seen The Toxic Avenger. I saw like the first maybe 20 minutes of the second one. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And I got the feeling I need to watch the first movie to understand what's happening right about now, don't I? So I never got around to the ending of that one. But let's see. So yeah, that's definitely one. And Mandy just really, this was one of my favorite movies that year. I had it in my top 10. And it
just came out a couple
of years ago,
right?
Yeah, it's like two or 3 years. Yeah. Deleted scenes. Cage did another trippy movie about a space fungus. Can't think of the name. Color Out of Space.
Yeah, Color of Space. Yeah.
Yeah, it was around the same time. And I have that too. I think I have like this whole stack of movies that I haven't seen yet. And Color Out of Space is in that stack. Here, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just like get up and I'll just like start showing some of these to you guys, because it's my show and my channel, and I can do whatever the hell I want with it. All right.
Yeah.
Now 6, and I'm sure you all know 6. Tried to talk me a little while back into doing like this physical media, what's on my shelf type of episode. And I never actually got around to doing it. So some of y'all will probably see some of these for the first time. I keep all of my 4Ks over here on the side of the room because I really don't have all that many of them yet, because I only just recently started making the switch to 4K. And the movie Dave C is thinking of is Color Out of Space. So I have right here.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch this movie yet. And it's directed by Richard Stanley, who did Hardware and Dust Devil, and was the original director on The Island of Dr. Moreau. But he was very famously fired off of that movie. And there's actually a whole documentary out right now that you can see on Amazon that's all about all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans on that movie. I'm trying to see. And here's the here's the 4K Night of the Living Dead
Cool.
that I was talking about earlier. Padawannabe is saying, I don't have shelves yet. I would only be able to do what's in the box. Put these back up. Any collector's editions of Spinal Tap? I know I had the DVD. I don't know if I have it downstairs here. But I know I can just get up and look. I know that I get up, old man. I know I had it at one point. Let me see. I don't think I have it down here. I don't. No, I do. Hold on. Yeah, I actually do. I do have this special edition. Hold on. But to smell the glove cover. Did you see the White Album? There was nothing on that goddamn cover. But I do have Spinal Tap. And kind of speaking of midnight movies, one that I think is a decent one anyway is a movie called Splinter, which is kind of like The Thing in a 7-Eleven. Pretty cool movie. LOL, what's in the box from 7? Yeah.
Classic.
Indeed. All right. So, chat. I want to bring you guys into the discussion. Do you have any other kind of titles for us that you would like to, that are like favorites of yours? Like, if it's in the middle of the night and you can't sleep and you feel like putting a movie on, what do you guys put on? And it could be anything from any time. It could be, doesn't necessarily have to be a movie. It could be a TV show or anything. Like one thing I catch myself doing a lot is I will go back and watch old episodes of Mystery Science Theater, because those are pretty readily available on YouTube, and I actually have a few box sets through
Yeah,
the
I've got
years, so, yeah.
I've got a bunch of those, and I found some of the episodes online that either were never out on home video, or if they were out, got pulled. Like the Amazing Colossal Man episode, that got pulled from home video since Susan Hart owns the rights to that film. She keeps asking for too much money for it. Luckily, she doesn't own the rights to the sequel, so that got out and stayed
nice.
out on DVD. Yeah, War of the Colossal Beast.
Yeah, and that's one thing that everybody has to remember is that. So, did she pull like the physical copies, or
I think she pulled
just off of the air, or whatever?
Well, I don't know if she got it pulled off the air, but I know that by the time, I think after the Amazing Colossal Man episode was out on VHS, she got it pulled from circulation, but I think you can still find VHS copies of it. I don't think she was successful at getting every VHS copy destroyed.
No. There's always going to be somebody who's going to.
And there's a few other movies that were on Mystery Science Theater 3000 that she owns the rights to, that she she keeps getting pulled from YouTube, but they just keep coming back. I Was a Teenage Werewolf, which was on MST3K, and It Conquered the World, and Terror from the Year 5000, and then Attack of the Eye Creatures, which is just the color TV remake of Invasion of the Saucer Man, which she
or
also
or,
owns
or
rights to.
or as I should say, Attack of the Eye Creatures. This is
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
credits for the film.
Yeah, the credits were all messed up on
Yeah.
that one. But you can
But
still find copies, the non-MST3K version of that movie online easily. So,
oh yeah, you'd be, and I know that well, all three of us here are pretty big proponents of physical media, obviously.
Yeah.
But if there's something that we can't find a physical copy of, we are not afraid to go and watch it online. And you'd be very surprised what you can find sometimes. Just
yeah, I
when
know,
you when,
like,
Mhm.
yeah, I know, like, with Galaxy of Terror, there was a VHS release, but then it was out of circulation for the longest time, so before
Mhm.
it was on DVD and Blu-ray, I had to go online to find a watchable
Mhm.
bootleg of it. And then Shout Factory got the rights to the Corman library, and was finally out on DVD and Blu-ray.
Right, and I
And
want to
that's
say
Wolfen.
Das Wolfen.
Welcome.
Good evening.
This would probably count as a midnight movie. Disaster movie? Earthquake?
Yeah. Plenty of those.
It's from Universal Pictures. It's funny, Lorne Green is in this, and they Universal later recut some of the footage into Galactica 1980, showing the earthquake footage destroying a city, but then adding in the Cylon Raiders blowing everything up.
Huh. It's interesting. Dave, see, I dip into old classic Doctor Who, Godzilla animated stuff like the Venture Brothers. Just like to pick from. Yes, the Venture Brothers. As of Friday, I think there's the movie. There's a Venture Brothers movie that came out this weekend, so that's when I gotta get a hold of. I'm a big fan of that. Disaster movies and anytime movie can never go wrong. Watching the world get destroyed. Well, not
Right.
usually. I was in junior high when the earthquake hit the World Series. Oh yeah, I remember that. They actually did a couple of movies about that as well.
Oh, do you mean the San Francisco
The
earthquake?
San Francisco earthquake, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the late 80s. And
Mhm.
remember my mom was picking me up from religious education, and there was that earthquake, and people were thinking that their cars were all messed up, but it was just the earthquake shaking their cars.
Mhm.
People were checking to see what was wrong with their cars. It was just the earthquake shaking everything.
And there's a movie. Like I said, they did a couple of movies about it, but the one that I actually saw the most was one called After the Shock. That I actually had a VHS of. I might still have a VHS of it. I don't know, but that was pretty good with Yaphet Kotto and Jack Scalia, and it actually had some of the people who were involved on the day. Like there's a plot line about a guy who was trapped in his car when the freeway fell in, and he's actually they actually have like the real guy who was trapped playing the guy,
Oh,
and
I
like
didn't know that.
some of the firemen were real and stuff like that. So it was kind of like,
I know
eh,
Johnny
yeah.
Erickson Tada, who was this painter. She's like paralyzed. Her hands and feet are paralyzed, so she's wheelchair bound. She actually played herself in her own movie.
Hmm.
I didn't know it was really her playing herself.
Which movie was that? Do you remember?
Johnny. It was a 70s like Christian movie. So her
Oh,
family was this Protestant Christian family, but she became famous as this either quadriplegic or paraplegic artist that could paint using putting a paintbrush in her mouth and
mhm.
just painting because her hands are paralyzed and she can't walk. She jumped in the Chesapeake Bay and I think she broke her backbone and she was pretty much paralyzed from the waist down, but she could still move her neck and she could still move her shoulders, so she could go like that, but her hands were paralyzed. Her feet are paralyzed.
I'll have to look that one up. But yeah, like I was saying, when it's a pretty good resource to have. YouTube's a pretty good resource to have if there's a movie that you don't have a copy of, but you'd be amazed of what you can find. Just type up a title, and you never know it just might be there.
Yeah, there's this one from the 70s called W. Stars Twiggy and Dirk Benedict. It still hasn't been. It's. I think Sinister Cinema put out like a bootleg DVD-R, but it's probably just of the VHS tape, and I found a VHS rip on YouTube.
Have you seen Doctor and Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Jekyll and Hyde together again?
That
That
I haven't seen
it's
before,
from
but
1982. It's a
Mhm.
comedy, and I would classify it as a midnight type-ish
is that
film.
does that have the guy from Young Frankenstein in it who played Igor in Young Frankenstein?
Uh, I think there is.
Marty Feldman, or whatever his name is.
No, it stars Mark Blinkfield plays Jekyll
Okay.
and Hyde,
Yeah,
and
it
Tim
was.
Thomerson and Bess Armstrong, who was in Jaws 3, we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier. Krista Erickson. Oh, she's hottie back then. But that was 80. This is a film from 1982, comedy horror, classified as. Yes, yes, Padawannabe. Killer clowns from outer space. Or are you talking about killer clowns from, or psycho clowns? But there was the killer clowns from outer space. They would have a gun that shoot cotton candy. Yeah, that definitely classic midnight ish film.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been able to watch that movie.
How come?
I don't know, it just seems too ridiculous for me.
Oh, it is, but it's all in good fun.
It's just like Manos the Hands of Fate is one I really can't stand. It just seems so bad.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, when it comes to Manos, I kind of have to watch, in particular, the Riff Tracks version of it to get through it.
Yeah, I found a restored print of it on Internet Archive. It was more watchable, but I could tell there was a bunch of voiceovers in that. There's a lot
Well,
of
yeah,
dubbed voices in that movie.
because they pretty much had the ADR. Well, what would nowadays be ADR? The whole thing, because they filmed it on like this hand cranked camera that only worked for like 30 seconds at a time or something, and they couldn't
Hmm.
do the sound on the set or something like that. Basically, the whole thing jumped off because Hal Warren, who wrote and directed and stars in it, he met Sterling Sullivan, who was out scouting locations for Route 66.
Hmm.
And he made a bet with him that he could make a movie on his own on the cheap. Because how hard could it be, right? And then he got the idea a couple of days in. I'm willing to bet he said, shit, this is hard.
Yeah, I think the director of that didn't
No.
set out to make a bad movie. He just didn't know how to make a movie.
No. And this, that's the thing about it, though. It's like, yeah, it turned out like it did, but damn, I admire the try. I mean, because think about it. The guy went out, he wrote a script, he hired actors, he got a crew together. And yeah, the movie didn't come off, but damn, at least he made it, And that's the cool thing about it. Dave C asks, do you guys have the Ice Pirates? Hilarious sci-fi
Yep.
action fantasy
Mhm.
comedy. Robert
I
York,
think
Mark
I-
Perlman, John
I
Carradine.
own the DVD, but I've never gotten the Blu-ray of it. Yeah, and that I saw in a movie theater because it was when we saw the previews of. I think we were all going to see it with my mom, but then I think one or two of my brothers got sick, so they stayed home. And I think just
Mhm.
one of them went to see it with me and my mom was upset about that movie. She hated it.
Oh, it was perfect Star Wars.
Hold on. I am trying to figure out how to
Spin-off.
blow
Yeah.
you guys
Oh.
up, but I can't figure out how to do it without blowing myself up first.
Yeah, I didn't know
I'll
that
figure
John
it out.
Carradine was in that, but it
He
had
is. Yeah.
Mary Crosby, who had been on, I think, Dallas,
Mhm.
was in that.
Mary Crosby, Angelica Houston.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it was
John
Angelica.
Matuszak.
Yeah, Angelica Houston before she was famous, because she was
Yeah.
John Huston's daughter, so she,
Mhm.
guess, one of the Hollywood royalty. Just like John Carradine was like Hollywood royalty, but he kind of went from mainstream to B movies, and then I think his children and grandchildren pretty much did B movies, but then David Carradine had the Kung Fu TV show.
Yeah, Pan Wallaby is asking, name a movie you paid to watch, but when you left, you had to think or say, well, that was strange, good or bad, and you said mine would be Orgasmo.
Yeah, Ice Pirates would probably be one. I can't think of anything else.
I'm trying to remember because there are a lot of movies where I could say that about it, but one that that I specifically paid to see, nothing's really coming to mind right offhand. But I grew up on a lot of movies that people would say was weird, but like to me they were like perfectly fine. So it's like because I started watching David Lynch movies at a really young age too.
Well, I think
Um,
everybody had seen like The Elephant Man at a young age.
mhm.
That was when I saw it from a young age, and then I saw the theatrical cut of his version of Dune on premium cable once,
Mm.
like on a Sunday morning, and I didn't know it was PG-13, but then I saw the extended cut later on. Yeah, I've got that one on DVD.
Yeah, Scavenger Hunt's a fun one. I don't
That
have
one's
it,
That's
but
classic
I think that's
comedy.
so.
it's good.
Isn't that like over 2 hours though?
No,
It
it's
seems like that's a pretty long.
160 minutes.
Oh, so it's almost 2 hours though.
Yeah.
It's close to 2 hours.
It's a classic one. Great comedy.
It's
Great Tank Girl.
it's
There
a
you
little
go.
long for a comedy, but it's got a lot of characters in it. So
This one goes fast. This is pretty fast paced.
yeah,
Definitely.
Tank Girl. Yeah,
That one's
It's-
classic too.
yeah, that was a fun one. I don't know how close to the comic it is, if at all, but
It's
Hey,
a mad, mad world.
Yeah, that's one I still don't own. I've got Scavenger Hunt and I've got Midnight Madness on DVD, but I don't own It's a Mad, Mad World. And I've got Battle
the
Beyond.
Stars. Yeah,
Yeah, I've got that since I own most of those Roger Corman produced B movies on DVD.
Tank Girl. That's a good strange one. Yeah, well, you get Ice-T as a mutant kangaroo. What more do you want?
But Tank Girl reminds me, the title reminds me of this other movie from the 80s called Tank.
Yeah.
James
With,
Garner.
James Garner, yep. And C. Thomas Howell. I actually got Battle Beyond the Stars, which came with my Krull, the movie Krull from the 80s, 81. You guys remember the Krull?
Yeah, I remember Krull, and I remember it had an arcade game, since Starcade, that one 80s kids video game arcade game show that came on TBS, they they would show kids playing the arcade game on that show.
I never know it got a video game.
I think it started out as an arcade game, and then it became this fantasy, this sci-fi. It was like,
I don't think so.
It-
I've always remembered it as just a film.
well, I had heard of an arcade game first, and then I found out it was basically the same story. It was like part Star Wars and part Knights of the Round Table.
Connie Clary says, "Love the comic series of Tank Girl." Well, how close is the comic to the movie? Is my question. Because just from the few frames I ever saw of it, I kind of got this Ninja Turtles vibe off of it, and I'm talking about the original Ninja Turtles comic, the original black and white one from back in the day. I kind of got that idea.
Yeah, didn't Ninja Turtles start out in like 85 as a comic book?
something like that.
It was-
And hello to Greg Parker. Favorite Indiana Jones? Probably the first one. Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie where
Raiders.
the kid was playing the arcade game and then went to space for real. Last
The Last
Starfighter.
Starfighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the girl from that movie, Mary Catherine Stewart, she was a Knight of the Comet at the start of the movie. She's shown playing that arcade game.
Oh, nice. Kindness is correct. Yeah. But like I said, I don't have any of the comics. I'm just going off what little bit I knew about it at the time.
Yeah. Scream Factory re-released this on Blu-ray on Night of the
Yeah,
Comet.
that's the one I've got, but I haven't watched it. But I've seen it before. It would always used to come on cable when I was younger.
There's a good midnight film.
Oh,
The
Yeah.
original heavy metal.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I think maybe with the Blu-ray they didn't put all the extras on the Blu-ray, so I bought a DVD copy just to be sure I got all the extras.
Right on.
Connie says her cousin has the Tank Girl comics. Cool. Now, one movie that had Catherine Mary Stewart in it, going back to her for a second, that I really dug from the mid-'80s was Night Flyers, which was based on this George R. R. Martin novella. And that was a movie that was always kind of like a guilty pleasure movie for me. Yeah, but I know that the people who are in it don't really like that movie that much. Cool. And then I recently went back. I had a chance to go back and see the movie again, and seeing it through my, now 50-year-old eyes, and I go, oh, shit. They were right. This movie's actually not all that good, because it's a movie that repeats itself. It actually ends halfway through. You could end the movie right there perfectly fine, and then it just repeats itself for like the second half of the movie. So it's kind of like, you're watching the same movie twice, really, while you're just watching it once. That's what it feels like. But they did a Sci-Fi Channel series version that I actually kind of liked, and it only went for one season, of course, because it wasn't a superhero movie or have vampires in it or something, so naturally it wasn't going to survive. But I thought that was fine.
Barking dog.
That's fine. Can't see anyone's chat until you highlight it on the screen.
No,
yeah, that's a thing that happens when you're simulcasting. I've noticed that if you put something into one chat, the other chat can't see it unless you highlight it, which is why I'm doing my best to kind of highlight everybody because I know that happens. We also have Anti-Derivative Jill. Speaking
Hello,
of somebody who's joining us from Bill's channel. Hello.
Yeah.
No, I can see, but deleted scenes has the controls. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a good one.
We're good. Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, Dawn's great.
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah,
movie.
I've got.
Is that
I think
What?
that's the theatrical cut of Dawn of the Dead, the U.S. cut, which I've got the
yeah.
U.S. cut of Dawn of the Dead on DVD and Blu-ray, but I don't have Day of the Dead. But Day of the Dead was one that seemed like it
Yeah.
got shown on cable so many times. I
I
just
love
got
the
sick of it.
artwork they did for this when they did
Yeah.
the Blu-ray. Thank you, Scream Factory. I have to go check on a dog. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. I want to take this moment to once again say hello to the chat and to thank everybody for being here, everybody who's lurking, and everybody who watches the replay. If you like what you see, both here, we are simulcasting both here and on Bill's channel. So please give us both some thumbs up. And we are also simulcasting tonight on Twitch through Bill's Twitch channel. So everybody who is watching there, it's good to see all of you. Thank you for being here. And
So- Are you going to play some video games on there too, or?
well, you'd have to ask Bill because that's his channel. So
Okay, was wondering why.
I am not. I have a Twitch account, but I haven't posted anything to it yet. So. See you guys soon. Have to take my lunch break. Okay, take care, Dave. See you, and thank you for being here. And of course, he has Lopan as his icon, so timely. All right. Okay, so Tim, you got you got anything sitting there next to you that you want to bring up right now, or?
Well, let's see. What could I bring up? Well, this movie had been on MST3K. It's 50s sci-fi thriller.
Mhm.
Yeah, this alien-like thing lands. I think it's some sort of like... Yeah, there's this top-secret Air Force base, and the children of the Air Force base, they find this alien mass that takes control of them and is trying to get them to stop the Air Force base from doing these rocket launches. And no extras on here. It's one of those olive film releases, so you just get the movie.
Yeah. I've heard they're not exactly the best per se.
Well, I don't know what Tom thinks, because they look like they're pretty decent quality. It's just you just might get only a trailer. I've never noticed anything wrong with the quality of their releases, aside from they usually don't have any extras, so I don't know what's wrong.
Oh, me either. I go by what I hear, and I hear people bag on Mill Creek. I don't really know what Mill Creek has done, so
Well, Mill Creek is a bargain bin DVD label where they would put 50 cheap little public domain movies in a multi-disc set, and they would cram them onto a disc. I don't think Olive Films ever did something like that.
And hello to Daniel's Hot Topics and Space Children's new on him. Anti-derivative Jill, the Space Children, well, it's got to be better than the children shall lead. Well, the movie that I think of, movie that comes to mind for me right now, it is a movie called The Children.
Oh yeah,
That was late 70s or early 80s.
I think
early
that
80s,
was,
81.
81?
I think that was a
Yeah.
trauma. That might have been a
It was.
trauma
It
production.
was.
Was it?
It was. Yep.
Yeah,
had it.
Mm-hmm.
I had it on, I think, DVD for a while. Then DVD somehow got stolen from me.
Oh. I had a DVD edition of it too, but I don't know if I hung on to it.
Vinegar Syndrome put it out a while back
Mm.
as a DVD
Yeah.
Blu-ray combo.
I'll have to find it. For people who might not remember The Children necessarily, like Bill said, it was 1981. Again, a movie I should not have been watching, but I did. And it's about these I think it was like a chemical leak or something, and it caused this radioactive cloud, and the school bus drives through it, and the kids all
it was
get
like
infected.
glass.
Yeah, and every time one of the kids would touch you, it would burn you to death.
Yeah, pretty
That
much.
was kind of
they had black
and,
fingernails.
Black fingernails.
They've remade it since then too.
Did they?
Somebody remade it. Yeah.
I think I tried to watch that on some streaming Roku channel, and I just got bored with it.
We get the only actor who was in it that I ever remember seeing in anything else was the guy from Invasion USA who played the CIA guy. He was the only one I remember from. Now, there is another movie called The Children, but it's kind of a different plot, and I actually do have it here.
Yeah, that's the one I think. But I think it was supposed to be remake.
Yeah, but it's not though. It's just kind of one of those kids start killing the parents type movies. And it doesn't really kind of get it, or at least that I remember. I don't remember that it ever got explained or why they did it. I haven't watched it in a while. But this actually is a pretty decent movie for what it is. Connie is asking, has anyone seen Pan's Labyrinth? Yes.
Yes. That's a classic. Classic.
I do have it. Mm-hmm.
Gilmore. I always pronounce him Gilroy del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. Yeah.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty good.
Isn't that from the 90s, though?
No. I think it was 2000 and
2000, yeah.
Well, it was fairly
recent or something. Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's more of a recent. That seems just too recent for me, though. I mean, Dark City, I got the director's cut on Blu-ray. That was one I wanted to see, so I got that on Blu-ray. But I don't know how I'd feel about Pan's Labyrinth.
Connie says 2006.
Yeah, it was 2006.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's Guillermo
del Toro.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
Del Toro.
Antiderivative Jill says Mill Creek released Quantum Leap with the correct music. It was all wrong on Prime, so I was happy to get the Blu-rays. Yeah, it's a rights thing. I hate it when that happens because they put the Tour of Duty TV series on DVD, all of the 60s era music was cut out and replaced with score. Not that the score was bad or anything, but it added a whole level of authenticity. It kind of really put you back in that time frame. But they didn't have the rights to put the music on on the DVDs.
Yeah, and the movie Hero, starring Henry Winkler and Sally Field, that had been on AMC as a TV print, but they had all the original music intact on that TV print. But then when it got out on DVD, the song "Wayward Son" was replaced for I think the VHS and the DVD over the end credit sequence. But then when Mill Creek licensed it, they restored that song to the end of the movie.
And hello to Shirality. He says, Flight of the Navigator, watched the other day. Classic. Yeah. And hello, Bush McFadden.
The Bush.
All right.
And Little Darling, starring Tatum O'Neal and Christy McNichol. That's one where there's a John Lennon song on the soundtrack, and so Yoko Ono won't allow that song to be released on there. But whenever it's been on, I think when it's been on streaming and it's been on cable, it has that John Lennon song intact. But the home video versions have that song cut out.
You may have to refresh, Bush. Yeah.
Have you seen either of you seen the 70s film The Cannibal Holocaust?
That's from the 80s. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
early 80s. I've seen the trailers for it. I've seen clips on YouTube, but that is one I cannot bring myself to watch. Hi, Boosh.
It's not for everybody. Yeah.
No.
Well, there's
You
see wildlife really being killed in it.
Yeah, that's
But-
one thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
I would have to watch it without the animal cruelty-free version, but even then, I don't know if I could handle it. I saw this other one that's like Cannibal Holocaust. I think it has the same director. It's a little bit easier to watch. Called It's called The Last Survivor, and it's also called Jungle Holocaust. That one's a little bit easier to watch.
Boss Wolfen says music licensing is crappy. If someone licenses a song for a movie, then that song should be in the movie or show forever. Yeah, I agree. And Boosh cannot see. And says Tim is spazzing on his end. Well, damn it, get your reception fixed.
It's either your internet connection or you just need to reboot or something, because I'm not noticing anything wrong on my end.
Neither am I. Yeah.
And deleted scenes and deleted scenes often has a bad connection when he does karaoke, so I think he might be able to tell.
Yeah. Shirality is asking, has anyone seen Bone Tomahawk? Oh, shit.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw Bone Tomahawk.
Yes, we did.
Oh, my fucking God. Did we see Bone Tomahawk?
We seen Bone Tomahawk.
When Bill did that for a Western Cinema Sunday.
Yep. Yes.
And yeah, and that's was that your first time seeing it as well, Bill? Because I know it was mine.
When we watched it, yes, it was.
Yeah. And if you go back, Shirality, and you watch that episode, it's pretty much a lot of me and Bill just going, shit, fuck, what the hell? you know, oh my God, that just happened.
It was like shock to the system. It's like,
it was.
Whoa.
Yeah. Great.
Sounds like
movie.
you two got scared shitless.
No, not scared. Just surprised
scared,
at the scenes.
Because the violence in that movie, when it happens, I don't want to say it's like a jump scare because it's not that cheap. It's just that
no.
you don't expect it when it happens, because you can have characters having like a calm conversation with one another, and then boom, somebody's hand will be cut off, and it's
Right.
shit, like Serality brings up here the cave scene. Yeah. Because the villains in the movie are cannibals on top of everything else that they're doing. So you see that kind of up close. Okay, the chat's jumping on me here, so let me pay attention to the chat here a little
Hey,
a little bit.
Cam.
Let's just saying this isn't working. I'm out. Okay, yeah, refresh if you can, and then jump back in. Connie's saying check your settings. Surality, LOL. Yeah. Roaming. All right. Das Wolfen, has anyone seen the old movie Government Agents versus Phantom Legion? No. I am not familiar with it. Guys, help me out here. Have you anybody?
Nope, I'm not
anybody
familiar with
this
that one.
Which movie is this?
Government Agents versus Phantom Legion.
That's not ringing any bells. I'm sorry. No. It doesn't ring a bell at all.
Bush is saying he can see the chat. And we do have Cam's Crash Courses. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Video isn't working. Well, damn it. One problem after another. Cam, and okay, I got a few more here. Now she got the moon sign, and while I have everybody here, of course, I would like to ask you to sub to my channel and to Bill's and also to Tim.
Yes.
But sub to each other as well. And if you are already subbed, make sure that you are, because sometimes you go back and you think you're subbed to somebody and you find out you're not, because YouTube goes and pulls one of those numbers. So yeah, because as Orville Nation says, we grow together.
All
right.
Indeed.
Apparently Connie has seen it. All right.
Which one? The Bone Tomahawk?
The Government Agents Foreign Legion thing. Bush does not know it. Let's see. Das Wolfen. 2 federal agents battle a gang that hijacks trucks carrying materials vital for the security of the country and sells them to foreign powers. That sounds interesting enough. I haven't seen it. He says, I have a lot of movies from the 40s and 50s. Yeah, it sounds like something from that time period. It kind of sounds like a serial. I sense permission for self-promotion. Yes, by all means. Yeah. If you have a wrench either on Bill's channel or mine, please put your feel free to put your channel links up in the chat. I don't mind that at all. In fact, I should be subbed to you already, Joe, but let me check and see.
Hey, Tim, do you know if there is a DVD or Blu-ray copy of The Sword and the Sorcerer movie from the 80s?
It had a DVD copy that went out of print. But now Scream Factory's licensed it, and it's part of a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack.
Oh,
So this is currently the best version that's widely available that you could buy on disc.
cool. I was gonna probably. I'm usually good at hunting down DVDs through the web.
Yeah, Shout Factory, Kino, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, and Synapse all seem to have a lot of more obscure stuff out on Blu-ray and Ultra HD.
Um, uh, what's the name of that? There was a distributor, Anchor Bay.
Anchor Bay became part of Stars, and I
Yeah.
think the one main guy with that, he started up Blue Underground.
Is that where we don't see Anchor Bay titles anymore?
Yeah, some of their
yeah.
stuff went to, a lot of it went to Blue Underground.
Oh man,
Cam was saying
Anchor Bay
YouTube-
was classic with great releases of the older titles.
Cam was saying YouTube screwed me on the membership. I was a member on Friday. Now I'm not. What the F? Don't know what to tell you there. You'll have to. Yeah. The only time I've heard of that happening is if you just don't make the payment on it for whatever reason. YouTube yeeting memberships.
If it was a gifted membership, it should be there up for a month at least.
Yeah,
somebody gifted you one.
You might want to let whoever you have the membership from know.
Maybe if you like if you signed up at the tail end of a live stream or something, maybe it didn't process the membership, so it kicked it back to you. That's one of the possibilities that could have happened.
Okay, Dr. Wolfen is confirming it was a serial when it came out, but they released it as a movie with all the episodes edited together. Cool. We'll have to track that down. And thank you for the sub, Andy Derivative Jill. And there's Connie's link. So if you're not yet subbed to Connie, I have that one too. I have a lot of sci-fi fantasy movies from Metropolis, the stuff that just came out. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube definitely has glitches. It does. Shirality, YouTube changed their criteria, lowered both subs and time watched.
Do either of you own on Blu-ray or DVD Zombie 1, 2, and 3? Italian director.
I do not.
If you mean zombie flesh eaters, I've got that on Blu-ray.
No, it just it's
the Fulci, right?
Yeah, Fulci.
That's zombie flesh eaters, and it's also called Zombie.
But yeah, they were original title just Zombie.
Yeah, I have that. Blue Underground put it out on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
DVD and later 4K. And then I have House by the Cemetery, and I have Maniac.
Bill, you'll probably be able to remember the title of this movie because I can't for the life of me. What was the movie where they had the adult playing a little kid?
Um. Oh yeah, they made a sequel to it. They I know them. I know the movie. It's on the tip of my brain. Uh, it was a little girl, right? Right. She had a condition where she was like 30 years old. Um. Damn it! It's on the tip of my brain, but I can't think of it right now.
Alice, Sweet Alice.
No,
No,
no, no, no, no.
no, no, no.
This was an Italian film. And hello to Mega Cropper.
Mega Cropper.
An Italian
We're getting
film.
Big and Jack. No, 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 no. The movie I'm thinking of was an Italian horror movie. And it had an actor in it named Peter Barkovici or something, and he went under the name Peter Bark. But he was like a little person. And
Was
he
it Let Me In?
No, 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 no.
No,
He
not
was
Let Me In.
he was an adult, but he was a little person. So he played like a little kid in the movie. And the reason why they had to hire him as an adult to play the character was because there was supposed to be kind of like this implied thing going on between him and his mother. And he gets zombied out at one point, and he kills the mother. And I couldn't remember for the life of me the name of it. And I know the Horror Geek did an episode on it, but I can't for the life of me remember the name of the movie. I don't remember if it was Gates of Hell or not. It might have been, but it's been so long now.
Gates of Hell is the same as City of the Living Dead.
Is it? Because here's the thing about Gate of Hell.
Gates of Hell.
Gates of Hell, whichever. There's also a movie called Gate of Hell that's like a different thing. Now, back in the day, there used to be this movie theater called Pine Haven. And Pine Haven, E.T. played there for a year. They had a lot of the Friday the 13th movies. You have it. Holy shit.
Yeah, this is the Ronin Flicks edition. There's a 4K out now that I think Diabolique is putting out from Cauldron Films. But this was the latest US version before Cauldron Films got the rights.
Well, anyway, going back to my story for a second, Pine Haven was pretty eclectic about what kind of movies they would show. They would have E.T., but then they would have Friday the 13th. They would have something like Porky's. Then they would have like the Italian horror movies. That's where the Italian horror movies ended up, was at Pine Haven. And one of the movies they played was Gates of Hell. And of course, it wasn't rated, but they had that, no one under 17 will be admitted, thing up on the poster.
That was like with Dawn of the Dead, where I think it was originally supposed to be like X-rated because it was so violent, but then they put no one under 17 will be admitted.
Right. So I snuck in to Gates of Hell just to get a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for another movie. I don't remember which one now. But I got curious because of the poster art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And wondering, well, what was wrong with this movie that I couldn't see it? So I somehow managed to get away from whatever adult I was with. And I wandered into the Gates of Hell. And I walk in, and it's immediately a guy ripped open guts hanging out, being munched. And
I
I
don't.
ran right out of there.
I don't think that. I think you're thinking of something else. Maybe you're thinking of Zombie. Is Zombie? That sounds like something that happened in Zombie.
Hmm.
I don't think there was any munching on in Gates of Hell. There was like just eyes bleeding,
Hmm.
and then there was somebody getting a drill to the head.
Just your normal Darren Aronofsky movie then. Good night, Cam's Crash Courses. Thank you for being
Good
here.
night.
Take care.
Yeah, Gates of Hell starts off with this evil priest hangs himself.
Oh, that's not good.
And then, yeah, they're having like this seance and they're seeing that happen. And the psychic lady supposedly dies and then she gets buried alive.
Mm-hmm.
But then they find out she was buried alive and they dig her up.
I'm looking up the Horror Geeks channel now because this is going to drive me nuts until I love.
Well,
And
you were
subscribe
talking
to the
about.
Horror Geek. It's a great channel.
There was also the one where there was a female who played a child.
That was
And
Alice,
that's the one I
Sweet
was thinking of.
Alice.
No,
Alice.
that Alice wasn't. That wasn't.
No.
That wasn't. You know, was a modern, no, different one.
Yeah, but Alice, Sweet Alice was something that was an American slasher that looked like an Italian.
Yeah, but that's not the
giallo.
one I'm thinking of.
And that actress was, I think, was a 15-year-old playing a 12-year-old.
Yeah, but that doesn't count as an adult, though.
Well, actually, she was 19 playing a 12-year-old. She was tiny.
Yeah, but the film I'm thinking of starred a female. It's not Alice, Sweet Alice. She was like a 37-year-old playing a 13 or 14-year-old, and she had a British accent, I think.
The Hunger?
No. It came out in the 2000s.
Came out in
Are
the
you
2000s.
thinking of Orphan?
Orphan, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
no. She was a kid. She was a teenager because she was in Hunger Games after that.
Yeah, that was like an American movie too.
Yeah, she was Isabel Furman. Yeah, she was. Yeah, it was a kid playing an adult pretending to be a kid. That was the deal there.
Yeah. Sure, she could get close to the father. Which was really creepy.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah, Julie Darling, also called Daughter of Death, with Sybil Danning, had this one young girl getting too close to her dad.
Here's the movie I'm thinking of, Bill. Burial Ground.
Burial Ground, yeah.
That's the movie I'm talking about.
One, yeah.
And that might even be the movie I'm thinking of instead of Gate of Hell. But
you used to have that.
I looked it up on my phone here.
Isn't Burial Ground?
Go ahead, Tim.
Isn't that Fred Olen Ray?
No. This was an Italian film.
Burial Ground. I looked that up. Yeah, Burial Ground came out in 1981. So yeah, that's an Italian grindhouse movie. One of several films released under their alternative title Zombie 3. Andrea Bicciani, director. Yeah, Burial Ground, The Nights of Terror.
Yeah.
But it looks like that movie had a midget in it.
Holy shit. Yeah. Here, I'm about to. Yeah, the right here in the middle. That was him. This guy right here,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
was the guy who was playing the boy, and that's actually him a few
That's
years
another
ago.
one I used to
Yeah.
have on
Yeah.
DVD. What I used to have when I was living in my apartment, I had a whole tote of DVDs that were just stolen from me, and it had like all those classics in there. Carlo Albanese, hello from across the pond.
Hello, Carlo. Zombie need brain. brain with his brain. I tell you one scene that made me jump out of my socks, and I don't get scared. Like I said, I don't get scared at most horror movies. Was in what was it? Return of the Living Dead, I think it was.
Return
they
of the
pull
Living
back.
Dead.
Yeah, when they pull back the curtain and that zombie's there, and it just goes brains. Now, like, ah!
That movie. Yeah, that one's kind of a silly movie.
Yeah, but that part was like, okay, that was a good scare.
It seems like the Return of the Living Dead movies just seem to like make fun of movies like Night of the
It
Living Dead.
was meant to be
Yeah.
a horror comedy.
Yeah,
It was meant to be.
it's just that the horror stuff in it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send more paramedics. Send more cops.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing with me is I don't really get. You have to get pretty hardcore to scare me, but I don't really want to watch movies like that anymore. You know.
I love horror. I got a coloring book that deals with all the horror stuff right there. Adult coloring book, yeah. Funny.
The actor who played Charlie X was 26, playing a teenager. I never suspected it until I found out. Robert Walker. Yeah. He was one of those guys who just looked like a kid forever, you know. But yeah, that was making me nuts until I looked.
The Babadook makes a good midnight film.
Yeah, I never saw that.
You never saw the Babadook?
I never got around to it. No.
Oh, you need to.
Because I know one of the main complaints for that movie was that you didn't actually see the monster.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, but from what I understand about the movie, it's not about the monster.
Hello, Fluff Creek, Productions.
Oh, hello. All right. I'm trying to remember if I have it downstairs here. Let me get up. Antiderivative Jill says the actress for Moaning Myrtle and Harry Potter was also playing a teenager, but she was really 36.
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, and then in the movie version of Grease, they had 20 and 30-something-year-olds playing teenagers.
Well, that's common trope that they.
Yeah, but a 29-year-old and a 35-year-old playing a teenager, don't you think that's kind of pushing it a bit too much?
Yeah, but if they look young enough to pull it off, I mean, they've been using 20-something-year-olds as teenagers for a while.
I know in The Blob, Steve McQueen was a 28, I think was a 28-year-old playing a teenager.
Mm-hmm. And hello to Keely Chow. Roll Tide.
Keely Chow. Roll Tide, Brother Warrior. Roll Tide.
Well, I'll tell you one movie that I would consider a midnight movie that's in the horror vein. Before I do that, Carlos says, so what you're trying to say is they might look young, but might be older than you think. Always check the ID first, yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Paula Shepard, who was in Alice, Sweet Alice, and Liquid Sky. She was 19 playing a 12-year-old in Alice, Sweet Alice.
Well, that's one more to add to the weird shit going on that set file.
Yeah, but she got out of acting after she did just Alice, Sweet Alice, then Liquid Sky. She didn't act in anything else. She just did those 2 movies, and that was it.
What do you guys think of the film Spider Baby?
That one's kind of funny. That one's funny.
Sid Haig.
Yeah, Sid Haig, one of his first movies.
Also in Galaxy of Terror and Bone Tomahawk.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But he's barely in Galaxy of Terror. You see him a lot more in Spider Baby than you see him in Galaxy of Terror.
He's in Bone Tomahawk even less. So he's pretty much the first to die. Yeah. Yeah, he's not in that one long. No, I mean seriously, 5 minutes in and he's gone already.
But I think just about everybody dies in Galaxy of Terror.
Yeah. Just about. Although they never did explain what happened to Robert Englund. I always thought that was kind of weird. He just kind of disappears from the movie.
I noticed that the last time I watched it, I watched the DVD. You see him fighting his evil devil, and then he tells Edward Albert to be careful, and then you can pretty much guess somehow he survived, but you don't see him again after that.
Yeah. One of the few times a teenager played her real age was Mila Kunis in that 70s show because they asked if she was 18. She said, I will be on my birthday. She was 15. Yeah, she was the only one in that show who was an actual teenager.
And I think it's funny, though, that both her and Ashton Kutcher later got married. He was married to Demi Moore for a while, but then he divorced her and he actually married Mila Kunis.
My dog's barking at the cat.
They are still together. Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's good. That they were a couple on screen and later off screen.
But you want to talk about a midnight movie in the horror vein. One that I always go back to is, and I've brought this up on the show before, it's the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that one's a
And,
little. I think it's a little bit more sensationalized, though.
You know,
how do you figure?
I just did it, looked it up, and it just everything about it just seems like it was sensationalized. I mean, it was scarier than Blair Witch, but both movies just seemed like they were sensationalized quite a bit.
I like the Poughkeepsie Tapes, but that reminds me of another film that's really great horror film. Session 9.
Oh, yeah.
What's
That's
it
a good
called?
one.
Section 9?
Session
9.
9.
Yeah.
What is that word? It doesn't even sound like a real word, though.
Session.
What?
A psychiatrist was recording sessions on a tape.
Oh,
So it
Session?
was, yeah, Session.
Okay.
And it
Because
was filmed at the Danvers State Hospital before they renovated it and turned it into like condos.
Mhm.
It was the early 2000s, like the year 2000, but it's dark and gritty, and there's no jump scares in it. What's scary about it is the human element. That's what makes the film perfect, and I just love it.
Is this like a haunted? It's not a haunted house, though.
No, these guys are
like haunted
they
house.
got contracted to clean the facility of asbestos. So you have to see it, Tim.
So
I don't want to spoil it for you.
David Caruso.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Mullen, Josh Lucas.
It is a spectacular film that's highly underrated and has pretty much gone unseen. I mean, big horror enthusiasts like myself.
And good night, Andy Derivative Joe.
Good night, Joe.
Fluff Chicks had never cared for Blair Witch.
Yeah, I don't care.
I understand. I liked it because I see it for what it is, but I can understand why, maybe it hasn't aged as well.
Well, I think if they did a sequel of Blair Witch where they actually showed a witch, it would probably be scarier.
What they did?
They
did
made
a sequel.
And I know they made a second. There was Book of Shadows, but I don't think they even showed the witch in that one. But was it a third one that they showed the actual witch?
Yeah.
I remember there was this Blair Witch action figure that was really scary. It looked like something like a cross between Swamp Thing, a tree, and an alien queen.
Well, what they do in the third movie is it looks more like a Slender Man kind of thing.
Oh, so was it CGI'd off of somebody else?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't that kind of hurt the movie if they have to CGI off of somebody else's body?
Yep.
I would think that it would be scarier if they had an actual, monster.
Yeah, the third movie's a dumpster fire. The only things that were good about the third movie was I liked the drone shots. Those were pretty well done. I thought that was an interesting addition. and they had the girl from The Following in it. And I had a little crush on her, even though she always plays a crazy person. That Valerie Curry. I don't know if y'all remember her. She was in The Following, and she was in that she was in that video game, that Being Human or whatever, with the robots and all.
I haven't heard of The Following, and I haven't heard of this video game you're talking about.
The Following was on Fox. It had Kevin Bacon in it, and it was basically 24, but instead of chasing after terrorists, he's chasing after serial killers.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like this cult of serial killers. He's Surreality says Detroit the Game. Yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah. Where they did the motion capture. So in the game, she actually looks like what she really looks like. They just like animated it. Bacon. Yeah. But yeah, as far as, yeah, I don't like Blair Witch 3. I don't.
I've only seen
2 is okay for what it is. Tom,
Midnight's Edge.
Dark.
Yeah, it's no. They're not doing karaoke. We're just doing a chill stream on both both channels. They're simulcasting.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just hanging out and talking about what our favorite midnight movies are.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to join us, Tom?
Yeah, jump on in. Let me send you the link, and if you want, you can hop on.
Yeah, I think we talked about Zombie 1979 already. Das Wolfen.
Yeah, we kind of hit on that.
We glossed over it.
That's the one that has a zombie wrestling a shark.
Cool. Like my guitar, LOL. Right on.
Have either of you seen or own, I believe it was 1981's Beyond? It's just titled Beyond.
The Beyond? Yeah, I've got the DVD.
Yeah.
I have that on DVD. It was released here in the States originally in a cut form called called Seven Doors of Death, but then it was re-released uncut as
I have it too. But
Beyond. It has the same actress from Gates of Hell and House by the Cemetery.
You're hanging out, you could get arrested for that, put it away. Tom, is that a euphemism for something? And of course, Das Wolfen to bring up the ultimate midnight movie, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that on Blu-ray, but I've never watched my Blu-ray of it.
There was a movie theater when I was a kid called the Fox Theater. And that was the theater that had the midnight showings for Rocky Horror Picture Show. And
it seems like you had to either go to, like, in California, you either have to go to the Bay Area or you have to go to Southern California to see Rocky Horror.
Meatloaf for the win. Yeah. R.I.P. Eddie. But yeah. And the Fox Theater, it was the kind of theater that would show Rocky Horror Picture Show. They showed Evil Dead there. I saw my first R-rated movie there, DC Cab. They had Godzilla triple features. They had Serpent in the Rainbow. I think they had Last House on the Left. I don't remember. But yeah, that was a cool place to go to. They showed Apocalypse Now for so long that they actually had a mural of the poster painted up on the side of the building.
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now, yeah. Did you participate or which do you mean?
Everybody was a virgin when they went to go see it, but I didn't participate in that thing before the movie.
Yeah. No, I never saw Rocky Horror Picture Show in the theaters. I was too young to see that.
I did once back in the 90s, in the mid to late 90s.
And Tom, if you're still listening, if you want to hop on, check your DMs. I sent you the link. Das Wolfen is saying my first R-rated movie in the theater was Flashdance. Right on.
You're talking about that one, right?
The Beyond. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Tom's is in Jedi Bill's live stream chat room, but I don't know if he's in. Yeah, that's the DVD copy I have.
Yeah.
I've never gotten the Blu-ray though.
They have the Blu-ray. I don't think they have a Blu-ray.
Yeah, there was a Blu-ray. They put out a Blu-ray later on. I don't know if you can still get it.
Fluff Chick says Cedar Lee Theater shows Rocky Horror. They have a troupe do the characters while the movie was going. Yeah.
That's
there are places to
usually how they do it.
Yeah.
This one's a pretty dark, terror-ish film.
Tom.
Midnight. Hey, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
You are muted, sir.
Hello? Tom?
He's working on it.
I didn't know I was muted. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
You guys are talking about a little... I can't remember that chord. Oh, well. Something like that. How y'all doing?
Good.
I'm just playing on the guitar.
I see Culture Casino was just doing a ladies' night live stream about Barbie earlier.
Well, I showed up, and so did a couple other guys, but yeah.
Yeah, well, eventually. I peeked in, but he was wearing a pink shirt again.
Look at that. 98 on the vomit eater.
Yeah, make them die slowly.
Yeah,
that one's pretty violent.
Yeah.
I think the guy gets his penis cut off and they deep fry it.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, well, they did that in Cannibal Holocaust as well, where they basically just skinned the guy. And they're like, oh, fuck! Oh, man. I did not see that coming. All right, good night. Carlo's got to leave us. Good night. Yeah, take care.
Good night, Carlo.
Thank you for being here. So I'm sure my neighbor appreciates me singing along with Tom at 1:30 on a Monday morning.
Yes.
Well, your neighbors are just going to have to get used to it.
That one's pretty good.
I never saw that one.
New York Ripper.
Yeah, that one I still don't own. Is that the one where it has like a killer that sounds like a duck?
Yep. That's the one. That's the one.
That was the funny thing when I saw the Poughkeepsie tapes the first time. It was an edited down version. It was on YouTube, and there was something off about the sound because it made the killer sound like a chipmunk. Everybody else's voice was perfectly normal, but whenever the killer spoke, it was just kind of Alvin, Simon, Theodore, which.
But isn't his voice supposed to be distorted throughout that movie anyway?
No.
So I thought he
This
was
is-
disguising his voice and his face throughout
Great
that movie.
independent vampire film right here. Pretty darn gory too. And this was back in 91, I think. I got it on cassette first at a Van Gogh convention. And I found it on DVD. All good.
Another one I don't know. Who's in it? Anybody familiar? Or?
Nobody famous.
Oh.
It's completely independent. They did their own acting in it, and
Right on.
it's not terrible. I mean, they weren't Hollywood actors. They were a group of people who made a film. There's another '80s classic
Oh yeah, pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that on DVD. Pieces.
Yeah. That was another one where they put the disclaimer on the poster. No one under 17 can come in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That was also Pine Haven had that one as well. The theater I was talking about.
Tarantino's and Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I love that.
Grindhouse. Yeah.
I
Yeah, that
fucking
was
love
actually-
that movie.
That was actually 2 movies in one.
Yeah, with Death Proof.
It was a
Yeah.
It was a modern day Grindhouse double feature.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All make good midnight films. If you could tolerate those type of films,
Yeah, I think indie movies are gonna
I want to hear some
come back
Tom's
here.
favorite.
Yeah, Tom, jump in.
Wow. Favorites?
Or ones that stand out.
Yeah, anything that comes to mind. Yeah, doesn't
I'm sure
matter
you
what
guys have
time
mentioned a
period.
lot
Or
of good ones.
anything.
Midnight movies. Texas Chainsaw 2 count?
Yeah.
I'll count.
Yeah, that would probably count.
Let me think. That's a good one. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what qualifies. I only just stumbled in, so.
It could be a comedy too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be horror.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
we've been all over the place. So.
Yeah, and we've talked about Big Trouble in
Night of
Little
the
China.
Living Dead.
Yeah,
Night of the
we
Living
talked
Dead
a little
probably
bit
counts.
about
You brought that
that
up,
one.
yeah.
And Night the Comet and
About the Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
No,
the
that-
Warriors. Yeah.
yeah, that would be one, and probably Blade Runner.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Brought up
I
Evil
think-
Dead. Yeah.
I think we mentioned that sucker already.
Dan Python.
Blake Edwards 10 or Skin Deep. John Ritter.
Uh-huh.
Oh, good choice, Fluff Chick. Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shit, that makes me want to go watch it right now.
Right. Right.
I've been doing that all night. That
Oh,
shit. I gotta watch that again.
World of worry, you got no deficit. I thought I knew you,
I
but
was gonna
didn't
mention that
know
earlier,
you at
but forgot to.
all.
Phantom of Paradise is definitely a classic.
Paul Williams and what's her face?
Jessica Harper.
Yeah,
was
she's
in
fucking married to
Suspiria.
Tom Rothman of all people.
Oh man. Oh, really?
I shit you not.
Ah, shit. That's disappointing.
Yeah, she was in Suspiria. Then she was in. She had been in Phantom of the Paradise, and she was in The Evictors.
The original, not the remake, right? You're talking
Not
about the
Suspiria
original.
remake, no.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in the original Suspiria, and she was Janet in Rocky Horror sequel,
Yep.
Shock
Shock
Treatment.
Yeah, she was a hottie.
Yeah. Rothman, huh?
Of all people, right? Could be worse, I guess. Could be like
Yeah.
Les Moonves.
Das Wolf and I think Porky's. We
Porky's
mentioned that
counts,
before.
I think,
Up the
yeah.
Creek, and I mentioned Meatballs earlier too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Up the Creek. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
classic.
I've got Up the Creek on Blu-ray.
Nice.
Right on. Hot Dog the movie.
You guys have really been at this for 2.5 hours already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like you can blame Fletcher. Yeah.
And he's not
Because-
even on.
He's not even on. I sent him the fucking link and everything. He didn't. Well, I know he's been busy. So.
Hi,
Yeah.
Kitty.
Oh, hey, kitty alert.
That's a big cat.
Animal House Caddyshack. Good one.
This is
Definitely.
Kunta Kitty, a.k.a. asshole.
Man, I used to
Kitty.
think you were kidding when you said what his name
Because
was.
he's the Black King. He's Kunta Kitty. Kunta Kitty.
Das Wolf and Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Penny Raid.
What about Police Academy?
Oh, yeah.
Police Academy. Yeah.
We were talking about Kim Cattrall, how hot she was in the 80s.
Mannequin?
The
I
Mannequin.
don't know
Yeah.
if that's necessarily a midnight movie, but
Big Trouble in Little China, which he
Mm.
was also in.
Yeah, that's how we got started.
I haven't seen Stripes, but PJ Souls from Halloween
Yeah.
and Rock and Roll High School and Carrie was in Stripes.
you're getting hair
Yeah.
everywhere.
Oh,
I don't know what you're
Gonna
loving up
get you,
on me
sucker.
for.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you, sucker. That's a good one. Don't
Easy
step
money.
on my bunions.
Rodney Dangerfield and Joe Pesci. That was the first time I'd heard of Joe Pesci. Was Easy Money. Yeah.
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 Talking about easy money. Oop, Kitty, come on now.
Okay.
Make up my mind what you're doing here.
So how's Sadie doing there, Tom?
Oh, she's doing all right. She's laying down here.
Right on.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Chilling.
Just chilling.
Chillaxing.
Goodfellas.
Is that really a midnight movie?
No, but you know, I mentioned Joe Pesci,
What
so
about Ghoulies? I got a ghoulie
Goonies.
back there. What about
Ghoulies.
Ghoulies?
Yeah.
They'll get you in the end.
Ghoulies. Ah, remember Ghoulies.
Yeah, if you mention Ghoulies, then I guess
Second
you got to
one's
bring
better
up
even.
Critters, right?
Yeah,
Critters. Yeah, Critters.
Yeah, I like Critters. I like Gremlins, of course. I don't know if I consider Gremlins necessarily. I mean, Gremlins is kind of like that line between, Hollywood movie and B movie.
Mhm.
So
But then
Critters
Roger
is definitely a B movie. Sorry.
Roger Corman did his own version of
Munchies.
Gremlins. Yeah, it was
Munchies,
basically
The munchies.
was basically his own B grade version of Gremlins.
I didn't hate Munchies. It was kind of fun, which is funny because it also has the chick who played April in Critters in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It took me years to like that film. I appreciate it more after the years have gone by.
Those movies are probably like, okay, if you guys want to ask like my favorite like midnight movies, it has to be rubber creature movies. Like if it's got a rubber monster in it, I'm gonna give it a pass. Like it's gonna get a big huge pass from me. Like shit like, you know, Gremlins, Critters, Ghoulies, The Gate,
The Gate. The Gate.
Puppet Masters, anything that's got little creatures, puppets, killer toys, Child's Play obviously would be, you know, those are like my go-tos. Like I love animatronic creatures. I loved all that shit growing up. So I mean, I'm sure that's probably also why I gravitated towards the Ninja Turtle movie so much. But I mean, I also love the Ninja Turtles, but I was like so jazzed by that when, you know, that came out and they used like I was always obsessed with like animatronics and makeup effects and stuff like that too. Yeah.
Killer Donuts? No, I haven't heard of that one.
Oh,
Killer
Killer
Tomatoes though, that'd be a good midnight movie. There you go. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
yeah, I've got Killer Tomatoes.
I got
Right on.
I got the MVD one too. Yep,
Uh,
And then-
that's a pretty good looking print of it too. Yeah.
And I found my Blu-ray copy of Fire and Ice.
There
I
you
haven't
go.
opened.
Nice.
I haven't opened it. The disc in there is loose.
Oh,
I hate that.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the little spindle that holds the disc. It has one crack, whatever those grooves are that hold the disc in place.
Yeah, sometimes they either break or they just didn't. But it just wasn't put in there.
Well, especially if you have a machine who cranked out the disc, you know. Yeah.
Would the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers be a midnight movie? The 70s one with Donald Sutherland?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. Solvent Green.
The Abel Ferrara version, certainly I would consider a midnight movie.
Any of the Planet of the Apes films from the 70s.
And The Clockwork Orange?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Here's a fucked up movie, Thanksgiving. Yeah.
I've seen that.
Thanksgiving.
Seems kind of stupid.
That's
Oh yeah.
the killer
Poltergeist.
Yeah, Poultry
See,
Guy.
that's kind of my line. I don't mind parody films, but like I don't like these like Sharknado type movies where they're actually trying to make a bad movie. Because I actually do genuinely like bad movies. Like one movie, they're actually trying to make a good movie, right? Because that's when it's the funniest. Like The Room, you know, for instance, or Plan 9 from Outer Space, what have you. Those are only good bad movies because they were trying to make a good movie. When you're trying to make a bad movie intentionally, it's just not the same. I mean, yeah, you can get a chuckle out of some of the stuff, but
Yeah,
that's just my personal opinion.
Well, Poultrygeist, I like the theme song of it. Has a nice upbeat sound to it.
Oh, jeez. Dog's going crazy over my cat.
The ones that I used to get a kick out of were the kind of like the Alien ripoff movies. And then, you know, Galaxy of Terror, I would put in that list. We've mentioned that already.
And then there was Alien 2 on Earth.
Alien 2 on Earth. Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if this would count as an Alien ripoff, but it's something like Alien 2 on Earth Contamination.
Oh, that would count. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love
Also
shit like
called
that. Absolutely, yes. There's
also
my,
called
yeah.
Alien Contamination. It's an English dubbed Italian film.
Yeah,
And I
that
found
looks
out
like
that
something I'd dig.
the lead actress in this, I found out is French Canadian, but I thought she was like European just by the look of her eyes. But she's French Canadian, and they dubbed her to sound American.
Oh.
Louise Farneau or something like that.
Hmm.
Is her name? But I
The
think
ra- Go ahead.
it was mainly Italian actors in that movie.
Yeah. The Alien ripoff movie I always dug was a movie called Creature, and it's also under
Oh, I've
Titan
got that.
Find. I
Yeah, I've got
fucking
that as
love
well.
that movie.
You know what? I'll tell you what. How about I go grab like 5 B movies
Oh, go for
Yes.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
go
Do
ahead.
it.
or midnight movies. I'm sorry, not B movies.
Yeah.
Movies that I would consider midnight movies are ones that I have in my collection. I'll be right.
The Creature, I fucking love that movie. And
The Creature?
Creature,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Creature. It's a mid '80s B movie.
I remember it. I
That's
remember
like
it.
Alien.
Yeah.
and had Klaus Kinski in it, and Ferris Bueller's dad, and this is a crazy movie. And they actually had an actress from that movie just passed away a few months ago. Annette McCarthy, who played Dr. Oliver, and she was in Twin Peaks as well during season 2. So that was kind of a bummer to
And
hear
I think
that.
this would count as like a midnight movie from the '80s. Voyage of the Rock Aliens with Pia Zadora
Huh.
and Jermaine Jackson is in this as well.
Huh.
And then Michael Berryman is in it. And Craig Schaefer, Tom Nolan, Ruth Gordon, and Allison La Placa.
Damn, how did that one get past me?
Well, for the
Was
longest
it under
time,
a different title?
no, for the longest time you could only find a bootleg of it on YouTube, and then it had an overseas DVD, and then an overseas Blu-ray, and then finally Vinegar Syndrome saved it
Yeah.
from obscurity. I don't know if maybe the music had to be cleared for it, or what was going on with it. It might have just been the music had to be cleared.
Maybe. The Fluff Chick Productions says Ed Wood movies are good bad movies. Yeah. Agreed. All right. I can't believe took me that long to remember Burial Ground. I'm slipping.
Well, that's
And that's
It's not-
another.
that one's probably a little bit harder to remember, though.
Yeah.
It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Trek. It's not.
Well, no,
The
it's
Dead,
not so much. It's not so much that. It's just that with a lot of the Italian movies, that they're under different names. Some of them, and I'll have one name in my head, but it might not necessarily be the right one. That's the confusing thing. It's also the fact that it's almost 3:00 in the morning here, and I probably need sleep.
Don't you have to work at all?
Yeah, but not tomorrow.
Okay.
That's how I can do a show like this. I'm not on Monday, so.
Yeah, but don't you have to moderate for Midnight's Edge tomorrow, or anybody?
Yeah, if I can. I'll try.
Well,
I'm
you
dropping
guys
shit.
seen this one, Baby Blood?
No,
Maybe,
I haven't seen it.
You gotta hear
the title
it
sounds
when they
familiar.
when she speaks in French. The creature that the baby that talks. It's so creepy. Funny
Oh.
but creepy. Pretty cool. Spectacular in its glory.
So who's in that one, Bill?
Let's see. Um, Emmanuel Escudero. I really can't pronounce the name. Well, Jean Francis Galette. Nobody recognized them, but they're all French actors.
Oh, fair enough.
French film. French horror film.
Some of those French horror movies, man. Oof.
Yeah, like Let the Right One In. Is it let the let, let the right one or let me in? I don't remember.
Well, let the right one in was the original version. Let me in was the American version.
Yeah.
Martyrs messed me up.
Martyrs.
Yeah,
Oh,
the original French version of Martyrs.
Yeah.
That
That one's pretty graphic.
yeah.
Indeed. You got Dead Heat, Joe Piscopo,
Yeah.
and Treat Williams. Late Treat Williams.
Dead Heat. Yeah.
Now I'd watch this one every time we would get psyched up to go skiing. Was Hot Dog the movie? I don't know if I mentioned that. There's so many good ones that have gone unseen, obscured to the Killer Shrews. Yeah, that's a classic. Day of the Triffids. Another one. Any Hammer, all Hammer horror, of course. How about Humanoids from the Deep?
Oh,
Yeah, that's an
that's one I'm surprised they got away with.
yeah. Well, that's another one that would absolutely no way in hell would
Not
be
do
made
today.
today.
Directed by a woman, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah. That was what's his name? Cronenberg. David Cronenberg classic. Yeah.
Humanoids from the Deep was Corman.
Dave Corman, yeah.
But Cronenberg, yeah.
Well, he had Coma.
No?
Remember the film Rude. That
You're
one
thinking
was,
of, you're thinking of Dead Zone.
Who's thinking of Dead Zone?
But The Brood, yeah.
That one was a strange.
I liked Existence.
Extends. Oh.
Existence, yeah. It was kind of like
Yeah.
it's basically the Matrix, but just the way Cronenberg would do it.
Nightbreed, yeah.
Nightbreed, yeah.
Clive Barker
Yeah.
at his finest.
Or Cronenberg plays the villain.
Yeah.
And there was an interesting thing that I heard about that. It says somebody said to Clive Barker, if you're not careful, everybody's going to think the mutants are the good guys.
All right, Tom's back.
Like, well, they are. All right, Tom, what do you got?
Sorry it took me so long. I was pissed because I'm actually reconfiguring a bunch of stuff. I got a new computer set up downstairs and everything, and so I'm moving all my movies around, so everything's discombobulated and I can't get to half the shit. I wanted to bring on some like Godzilla 1985 and a few others that I have are bootlegs.
Uh-huh.
But speaking of bootlegs, so I tried to grab something from just about every genre I could. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody mentioned
Yeah.
Nightbreed in the
Yeah.
chat, so
We
I had
were
to show
talking
off
Nightbreed.
my Blu-ray DVD combo.
And that's
Cool.
what I wanted to do too, is grab some things that none of us had mentioned yet, at least since I've been here, and at least if you guys mentioned these while I was gone, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, no worries, no
Yeah.
worries.
I
Yeah,
bet
no
you
Here's like an
worries,
ultimate
Tom Connors.
midnight movie.
The Wall.
And this is a bootleg,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
Russian bootleg.
I have a DVD of that, but I
I have the
know-
DVD too, but yeah.
I think the only Blu-ray has been overseas. There hasn't been.
It's actually a bootleg. That's the only one that's out there is this one, yeah.
Are you sure? I thought MGM allowed
Not that I
Allowing-
know of.
for.
Because this is
overseas.
actually a rip-off of HDNet. It actually has the logo during the movie.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
And here, of course, is a classic nightmare movie, or
Yeah.
midnight movie,
Wow.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
So that's
Yeah.
the original. That's not the
Yeah.
remake.
The
No, this is
original.
the Robert Englund one, yeah.
Okay, I've got that.
Yeah, I got the whole set, but I just brought one up. And here's one I didn't hear you guys mention yet, but is another one that when I think of midnight movies.
Yeah,
Heavy Metal.
he showed us the blue.
Yeah.
Jedi Bill has the Blu-ray, so he
Yeah.
showed us the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I
This
have
is
that
the
as well.
Steelbook I just got, yeah.
Steelbook.
Oh,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, that other movie, that Ralph Bakshi movie, American Pop, is finally getting out on Blu-ray from
right?
Sony.
Yeah.
About time,
Oh,
too.
cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow. It makes, I
And
want to
it
get
has
that.
Heavy
now.
Metal 2000 as well in it, yeah.
I didn't care for Heavy Metal 2000.
I didn't either, but like, yeah, I look at it as like a free bonus. Kind of
Yeah.
like Teen Wolf 2. I'd never buy Teen Wolf 2, but
Right.
if it comes with the first one,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
going to turn it down.
Yeah, it's
Here's
like
one-
Mannequin 2.
Right? Well, I actually have both of them, so I shouldn't say shit, but here's one that I remember looking everywhere to go see the movie in theaters, and then when I had to find the DVD, it was even more of a nightmare. I don't know if you guys even remember this movie
Oh,
or not.
Bats.
Diamond Phillips.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Needs
I
a
remember
Blu-ray.
seeing it advertised.
Damn right it does. Is that
That's
the
a
young
fun
cut?
one. Yeah, this is the unrated cut, yep.
Nice.
That's
That's a
the
fun
guy
one.
from La Bamba, the movie.
Yep. And then, of course, what midnight movie wouldn't be complete without
Highlander.
Highlander?
Yeah. That could only been. Tom, have you ever seen Baby Blood?
Mm-mm.
It's a French film. You gotta watch it in French because when the baby talks, it is creepy, but it's so cool.
No, I've
It's
never heard of that
super
one.
gory. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's like an ultimate midnight movie, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Ah,
Yeah.
And then I tried to at least grab a comedy or two, so I got Airheads. I thought that qualified.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't farting on no snare drum. And then here's another probably ultimate midnight movie you guys probably already mentioned, but I think is up there with like Rocky Horror and whatnot.
Which one is that?
Flash Gordon.
Oh yeah, Flesh.
Yes.
Killer soundtrack.
Well, I thought
Savior
you were,
of the universe.
I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
show us Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
I almost grabbed that one, Tim. I thought about it. I had a couple in my hands, but we already talked about shock treatment and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I'll just leave that one out. But yeah, I had that one in my hands. I'm like, nah, I'll say. And I had that in A Phantom of the Paradise. I'm like, okay, I'll just grab ones we haven't talked about that I know of. So
Right on. Right on. So many good classics.
and you guys are bringing on some like very obscure stuff here. I mean, I could have grabbed
Yeah.
some more obscure stuff. I could have, but I should have. But yeah.
Yeah, we all tend to have our obscure stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I almost like I have Cannibal Holocaust and a lot of the other ones you guys had mentioned
Yeah.
too already, but like I was like,
Yeah, we mentioned Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox.
I should have grabbed my Fantastic Four movie, the one that was never released. I got that on Blu-ray.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I got a bootleg of that.
Cannibal
It's the
the
closest
musical.
to. That's one I don't have, but sucks because it was on YouTube for free until they pulled down whatchamacallit's website or Facebook or YouTube. I just forgot their name. Troma.
And
Wow.
Troma used to have a bunch of stuff you could find on
Yeah, they had a
YouTube
bunch of
for
free movies on YouTube.
You know what I just watched on YouTube? Somebody has it up and they haven't torn it down. Meet
What's
the
that?
Feebles.
Really? That's a tough one to find, yeah.
I know, right?
It's a weird one, but
It is.
I've got a file of it somewhere. I wouldn't know where, but that's one I had like on bootleg on tape back in the day. That was always a tough one to find. Yeah, a lot of the
Yeah.
earlier Peter Jackson ones were
Here's one that hasn't been out on Blu-ray. It's just DVD
Green Lover.
with Christy McNichol.
I don't know if I know
Oh.
that one or not.
It's either late 80s, early 90s. It was right.
House Wolf
It
and
was
Jizz.
right when she. Was right when she started going back to acting for a little while, and before she quit acting again.
Right on Dust Wolfen.
Yeah.
My favorite's Dead Alive.
Now, Dead Alive was too gory for me, at the time.
It's
Right,
probably
that
my
was-
favorite
that was too
pre.
much. Yeah.
You know what's funny though is that's probably my favorite pre Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson, or actually pre Frighteners Lord of the Rings, pre Frighteners Peter Jackson movie. It's got to be Dead Alive, I think. Like
Yeah.
I like Meet the Feebles and whatnot, but Dead Alive is just fucking fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here to kick ass for the Lord.
Yeah. I love that bit.
The fucking lawnmower scene and stuff, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Throws in everything but the kitchen sink, and then somebody gets
Yeah.
killed by the kitchen sink. So
Exactly.
Okay.
And I get it. I mean, it's a bit
Yeah.
out there, but like to me, it's like it's almost like RoboCop. Like some people just don't get it. It's like it's a satire. It's making fun of so many things, and like if you don't get it after that scene where that dude gets blown to absolute bits, you know, then you're just not going to get the movie.
And the fluff chick brings up Midsummer.
You
Yeah,
call
but-
this a glitch?
Summer.
I wasn't a fan of Midsummer, to be honest.
I've seen the trailers. I've been kind of interested, but the only thing that's really turned me off of it is it's like super long.
Yeah.
And so many
Yeah.
people have told me it's not a real good movie and has like a really fucked up dumb ending or some shit.
But
I
here's
kinda already know most of
Creature.
I got that one too. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
There's a good one.
I
And
I
I've
hated
got the
Midsummer
Kino
at
Blu-ray
first.
of Metropolis.
Oh, I got that one too. That's a good one.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But
Isn't that, if I'm not mistaken, Tim, isn't that the most complete version to date of
Yeah, it says
Metropolis?
the complete version. But do you have this one,
Yeah.
Tom? Voyage of the Rocky Alien?
I believe I do.
Pia Zadora.
Yeah, I got a lot of the weird vinegar syndrome ones sometimes if they look interesting, but doesn't always. I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of them yet. That's the one thing about this job is like I get this job because I love watching movies. As soon as I start doing it, I have no time to watch movies. It's like
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
didn't Andre kind of hire you for that sort of thing?
sort of like okay. The short version of the story is he called me in April of like 2017. I think it
Okay.
was. And he's like, because he had seen some video stuff that I'd been working on my own, and he'd seen me very, very, very active within the group. We had exchanged some DM conversations from time to time. And he goes, "Can I give you a call?" And I gave him my phone number, and he calls me international. And, you know, with that voice, he's like, "Hello, I have seen some of your work, and I have seen you very active and your opinions and takes in the Facebook group. And I am curious, would you like to work with McKnight's Edge?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking serious? Of course I would. Like, duh." You know, and he's like, "Oh, that is great." And that's the thing is we had another guy who was supposed to handle all the editing. We already had Rob that time doing the narration stuff. And me, and my thing is I was supposed to handle helping him with writing, research, and doing commentary work because Andre really wanted to break into live streaming because at that time live streaming was just starting to, you know, take shape. He also wanted me to be able to branch out to other, you know, YouTubers. Plus, you know, I had my connections and was able to get interviews. He didn't know about that at first, but of course that was a bonus for him. But, you know, to me, I just kind of needed a bigger platform than what I had it. And that was where, you know, it just kind of benefited us both. And yeah, before I knew it, you know, the other third party guy, he kind of just took off on us because he had a dispute with Andre over how much he wanted for editing. And Andre just balked at what he wanted. And I didn't blame him. And this guy took off. So Andre was kind of left high and dry without an editor. Like the most I was supposed to handle technical wise was like I had some audio editing background. So I was going to handle some audio editing for Andre, and that was it as far as editing goes. And he's like, "I don't know what to do. We need to find an editor." And I'm like, "Well, I do have a little bit of background I can cover until we find somebody." And here we are, you know, this many years later. And finally we've got Pablo to help out. But like, yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride. I did not expect to do a lot of the things I've been doing. And that's what's taken up a lot of my time. Because like editing a video can take a long time. I mean, I've got it down to a science, but like, even I have my limitations. Like today, Andre threw us a 22-minute video or 23-minute video, and he's like, "I want it by the end of the day." I'm like, "You want a miracle." And I am Scotty, but I'm not that much of a miracle worker, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'll do my best. And I got most of it done, but then I had to pass it off to Pablo, but Pablo's still working on it. I mean, I probably could have finished it by now, but that's nothing against Pablo. It's just I have that much more experience than he does. And I don't know how to speed it up, the process, as far as like I got it down to a pretty damn good science. But
Isn't
I do
Pablo younger than you though?
I'm sure he is, but he also has another job too.
Okay.
But yeah, but it takes a lot of time to edit a video. I'm sure you guys who have done it know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm working on it right now. I'm working on the process.
But he calls me Scotty. He calls me Scotty because I'm really good at. So he'll go, "What is the ETA of the video?" And if I know it's going to be like 2 hours, I'll tell him 4. So then it's, you know, it comes in early. See, I'm Scotty. He figured that out pretty early on. He's like, "You do that every time." It's like, "How do you think I always come in time, Captain?" Do you always multiply your estimations by 4? Aye, you caught me, Captain. How do you think I'm such a miracle worker? Does Star Trek count as midnight movies? I don't know.
Yeah. Which one?
Especially if there be whales here.
Oh, yeah. The Voyage Home.
I think Star Trek: The Motion Picture would count as a midnight movie.
I do too. Yeah, I agree with you. At least the first one and fourth one.
Isn't
Actually,
the
all of them really. I mean, up until
Isn't the first one partially in Vulcan with English subtitles?
some of the movie is, but not like
Yeah.
that much. Just the scenes
se-
on Vulcan.
It seemed like when I saw the first movie on network TV, they had it partially in Vulcan with English subtitles.
Only the parts on Vulcan, from my recollection.
Mhm.
Which they did extend a bit on the television edition, so that might be why you feel like it was more of the movie, especially if you saw it like years ago. Like I can see that. How long has it been since you've seen the motion picture?
I think the last time was Sci-Fi Channel, but it seemed
They
like
probably
when
showed the
Sci-Fi
TV version.
it seemed like when Sci-Fi Channel showed it, I would always get turned on late. I didn't see any of those Vulcan.
Didn't
Oh,
they
weird.
just release a definitive extended cut?
Technically, yeah, it's a semi-newer version of the final cut done by the director. His name just escaped me. It's probably Steven didn't jump right on that.
Robert Wise.
Robert Weiss, yes. And he oversaw the final cut in 2001 or 2000, I can't remember which. And he died, of course, but since he died, they rescanned it all in 4K, but they've done a few more edits and changes since that version that some of us don't agree with. Robert Meyer Burnett's talked a lot about it. There's just a couple of little nitpicks that were like, why did they change that, or why did they mess with that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty much the definitive version. Honestly, I prefer the TV version. And they kind of the version they have a version of that on the Blu-ray now, where there's only like you can watch it with or without the finished scenes, because famously when they first showed it on television, they had a bunch of scenes added back in that they didn't have finished, so you could see like the blue screen and shit behind them and stuff in some scenes. It was wacky. It was kind of weird, but they finished it for this Blu-ray finally. It's kind of cool. So they have all three versions of the movie out there now. Yeah. So you have the TV version, the original theatrical cut, and the director's cut.
Hello, LDG.
LDG. Hello.
No, I've come to love the motion picture a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
Anyway, it seems like I killed this convo.
No, you didn't.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
I was
Well.
looking for a copy of the motion picture. So
Am I the only one here? I'm sure Tim knows this one, if not Steven. Fritz the Cat? Come on.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
oh yeah, Fritz the Cat.
Ultimate midnight movie there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or The Nine Lives of Fritz the Cat I actually like better. I know it's kind of sacrilegious, but I do.
But isn't that the sequel?
Yes. And in fact, she had nothing to do with it either. So, like, yeah, it's kind of a... Some people, like, don't even really consider it whatever, but I actually prefer it to the original. The original's okay, but it goes off the rails at the last third. To me, Nine Lives of Fritz the Cat runs like a better film. Like, its actual storyline kind of to it and everything. Bakshi was a bit autistic in it. Well, I mean, he's still with us. Sorry, I don't mean to talk about him like he's gone, but Bakshi was a bit autistic in the way he kind of did a lot of his films.
Yeah, wasn't this one of Ralph Bakshi's movies?
Did he work on that too, or was that? I think he did. I think you're right.
Yeah, he was the animator, but it
Yeah,
it
I
was
don't know if he
based on
directed it, but he might have. You could be right.
it was based on Frank Fragetta's art.
Yes, and it has a lot of rotoscoping in it, so I'm almost positive he did work on it, but I'm not sure if he directed it or not. You'd have to look on the box there.
Yeah, an American Pop was one that
That one he did direct.
Bakshi
Yep.
rotoscoping.
Yep. And that's probably one of my favorites of his. That's an undersung one as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I haven't seen American Pop since it was on cable back in the day. So when that comes out, I definitely want to snag a copy.
It had
Yeah.
been released on DVD way, way back in the early days of DVD, and then it had disappeared, and then it finally popped up on video on demand or digital or whatever you want to call it here a couple years back, and I picked it up. It's a very rough print there. So hopefully this new one they're coming. I was hoping for a 4K, but I'll take a really decent new scan of it for that matter.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, some
It's
of
a
these
great fucking
films,
movie though.
some of these films, I think the film elements are so bad. You're lucky if you're even
In some
getting
cases,
a
or they can't even
Blu-ray.
find them. But Sony has always taken pretty good care. Like of all the studios, they're the ones I give the credit for that. Since Sony took over Columbia, they have really taken care of the catalog. They don't piss around when it comes to putting out a Blu-ray like this. That Heavy Metal I just showed you, that's a Sony release. That convinced me that animation could benefit from 4K. Because I wasn't completely convinced that 4K was going to do anything for animation that Blu-ray hadn't already done. Because I mean, I get it when you're talking about an actual film. There's more resolution. There's more things to see. In an animated film, most cases, it's pretty like I just couldn't believe that you could pull more definition out of it than you're already getting. And I was dead fucking wrong. Dead wrong. When I saw Heavy Metal in Blu-ray 4K, I was like, oh my God, this is like a brand new movie. It never looked this good. And the new soundtrack is it's like a cherry on top. So I mean, oh yeah, it used to bang in the DTS one they did before, but this Dolby Atmos soundtrack they have on it now, holy crap. It puts that other one to shame. It thumps. and it uses the surrounds. Yeah, if you got a nice system, this is the kind of movie you want to throw in and show your buddies.
Yeah. Bring on the surround.
Now you guys are making me want to watch Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. It's just this is a constant thing. It's like I get this all the time. It's like I wish I could watch this, but I ain't got the time.
You just don't got the time, yeah.
I could right now, actually. I do have. This is not normally. This is my time where I chill out and watch movies and shit. But I thought I'd hang out with you guys for a little bit. Since you invited me.
I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
All right.
I like the new Icon Jedi, Bill. I forgot to tell you about that. I saw
Oh,
that. Yeah,
thanks.
Who drew that for you? I recognize the art.
Yitza Lemons.
Yeti. Or who was it?
Yep. Yitza Lemons.
Yitza Lemons? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
Alright, neat. It looks just like you.
Right. Yeah, and I had him do 2 for me. I had also made him do the Western one.
Oh, I actually kind of like that more.
Yeah. But I had to keep the Jedi with the
yeah.
saber.
Of course. Of course.
Just since
Gotta
I've been
stay on brand.
having the sunglasses lately on.
There you go. There's an old school.
Yeah.
Well, this is
Is that
the
an OG
retro.
or is that a
It's the
one?
retro collection version. So
Oh.
they made the mistake of one of his feet goes down more than the right
I
foot.
hate that. They never pay attention to some of that shit.
But you can still get him to stand up straight. You just have to. I think you have to bend the
Finagle
legs
it.
like that
Yeah.
just to get him to stand up straight.
That's kind of lame.
And then the Boosh disguise Leia, they messed up the legs, so this one
Mhm.
can't even stand up straight.
Hmm.
Christ.
Yeah, they screwed that one up. They gave her the stick gun with the actual handle, so I have an original one
Oh, wow.
my grandma got for me at a yard sale, but it didn't have her original weapon, so I just gave her the stick gun that the retro collection one had that has the actual gun handle on it, so you can point
That's
it like
cool.
a gun.
Oh,
But I
that
don't-
would-
But I think she holds it better just as like a little
Mm.
stick thing.
None of them had the thermal detonator, huh?
No. You had to use your
Bummer.
imagination back then.
Yeah, that's too little. Too little.
Yeah.
Especially after the Boba Fett incident. I'm sure they didn't want to deal with that.
And then Stan Solo in the UK, he made a custom of the slave Leia in a Kenner
Nice.
style.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice.
Pretty good.
So the skirt pieces are real cloth, like the
Why does her
cape-
face look really white? I mean, like clown white.
She was pretty white back then.
Yeah, but it looks like
I
an
think
extra
when they
gloss
got,
of clown white.
I
on there.
think when they got to the desert for the sail barge, she got more of a suntan. But during those scenes, she was white. She was
Yeah.
very white.
There's my Chewbacca.
Oh shit! I suppose, boys. I think I might
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead.
check out here.
Yeah, I think
wrap
we're.
the show up. I think right about here.
Yeah, we've done
been
3
fun.
hours.
So, yeah.
Can't believe it.
All right. So, Tom, before you leave us, what you got coming up?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be on the morning show in about 7 hours.
Mhm.
7.5 hours,
You
whatever.
better sleep. You better
Yeah, probably.
lay down and go to sleep.
Yeah, I might do that in a bit here.
You got the girls on tomorrow night, right?
And that.
With toxic masculinity,
Yep. Toxic femininity, but yeah.
femininity. Yeah. Right on.
The masculinity's outnumbered on that one.
Very much so.
Yeah.
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 All right. So, Tim, you got
Yeah,
anything coming up on your?
Well, I filmed a physical media update late last night, and it's edited together. So I was watching it before I came on. It's 69 minutes long because I had a lot of stuff to show off. I was going to do it in 2 parts. I decided, well, I'll just do one long one. Anybody that wants to watch the video can watch it in just short sittings.
Cool. All right. And Bill.
Got nothing planned right now. Just my normal stuff. I am gonna go try to get a video put out before the end of the month, but I'm not promising anything. Like I said, editing takes a long time.
Cool.
But there will be videos coming.
That's good.
Right on.
All right, well, you guys have a good night.
Okay, Tom.
Take care of
All right.
yourselves.
Take it easy.
Good night, Tom.
Later.
Good night.
All right. And of course, for me, unscripted, Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, and The Other Side of Midnight, 12:05 a.m. I also appear with Bill on Western Cinema Sunday. Next week's movie is going to be The Return of the Magnificent Seven.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And of course, I show up on his karaoke show.
Mhm.
I am next Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday night at 10. I'm going to be appearing on Films with Friends with Big Al Presents and Wolf 10 Media. Episode 3 of Kaiju Lie, and we're going to be watching War of the Gargantuas.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's a classic.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see what else. I'm going to, as of right now, I'm planning to be on TGIF over on Pulp Culture Minefield. That's 4:00 Friday. If hopefully my schedule will allow it, but if all goes well, I'll be there. Das Wolfen saying, I guess this is my cue to call tonight as well. Well, good night, Das Wolfen. It was thank you for being here. Cool seeing you, and like I said, I'll try and hook up with you guys on Friday. All right.
Cool.
I have reviews out on my channel. With I did 2 reviews with Bill, The Covenant and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I also have reviews up now for Sound of Freedom and what did I just see? Oppenheimer. So check that out.
Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
I think I'm going to try to go see this week.
Yeah. All right. So I want to thank everybody who is in the chat with us. Das Wolfen, LDG, Fluff Chick Productions. Let me scroll up here. Our Color Albanese, Chirality, Any Derivative Jill, Keely Chow, Connie Cleary, Mega Cropper, Cam's Crash Courses,
Boosh.
Bush McFadden, still scrolling. The chat was jumping tonight. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah. Daniel's Hot Topics.
Daniel's Hot Topics.
Dave.
Dave C.
Dave C.
Padawannabe.
Resolute Germ.
Resolute Germ.
And Kai MFS.
Yes.
Yeah. And Mr.
Steve
Connors
Pensac.
is showing up. And Yvette. Yvette. Hello, Yvette. We're wrapping
Oh,
up.
hello, Yvette. Stark of Iron.
Yeah. Let's start going here.
All right. I think we got to everybody.
It was great having
Yes.
Tom come in here.
And it was.
This has been a fun. It's been a fun.
Nice surprise.
Fun tonight. It's been really fun.
Mhm.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Deleted Saints.
You're welcome. I'd like to thank you all for coming here and hanging out. And to Fletcher Williams, wherever you are, screw you. No. Since this was a show that kind of was Fletcher's idea up to a point, and or at least he certainly inspired it with the thumbnail. And so anybody not following Fletcher, go over to his channel, show him some love, give him some subs. He does all of my thumbnails now. He did my new icon, and yeah, he's a cool guy. He produces Paulie's show, Latino Slant. So he's definitely keeping busy. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Don't forget to hit the like, share the stream, say hello in the comments because it helps with the algorithm. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe. I'm trying to hit 500 by the end of the summer.
Right on.
I want to thank everybody who joined us from Bill's channel. So give him a thumbs up over there as well. And if you're not familiar with Bill, go over there and give him a sub, and also sub to Tim's channel as well. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank everybody who watched us on Twitch or will watch us on Twitch. So that's Bill's Twitch channel over there. So give him a sub over there if you haven't yet.
Yep.
And thank you, Fluff Chick. It's good to see you. All righty. From HQ, good night. Take care. Stay strong, because this is how we win.
Night, everybody.